The Driving While Awesome podcast is recorded live to SD card at the Beeline Motor Club in Santa Cruz, California.
Welcome to Driving While Awesome, part of the Haggerty Podcast Network. My name is Warren.
I'm Lane.
Mark.
And I'm Clark.
We're joined once again by Clark Sopper of Roundcat Racing. Is that what you like to be referred to?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
In this context.
Okay. Sounds good. Who
In
is
other contexts?
In other professional
Like your family?
Yeah, my family probably not.
you see your aunt after a while, it's like, oh, Roundcat Racing.
She's like Clark Sopper of Roundcat.
I think most people who know me probably know me as Clark of Roundcat.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to
Clark.
get into these, but I don't want to be rude. Do you want to tell the listeners what we're doing?
I just got back from Japan. I brought some snacks for the crew.
It says Line.
Yes.
That's an app. That's like their big social media app there.
Oh.
So I got some pink beer to celebrate the spring.
It looks incredibly delicious.
I think
pink.
I don't
know why.
It's all marketing, right?
it should be the same super dry you know and love.
But it's just completely covered in cherry blossoms, and it's a pink can versus a silver can.
Yep. It tastes like beer.
Super dry.
When I was in Japan many moons ago, we had a beer, and it said style free.
Style free, yes. It is a non-alcoholic beer.
That's funny. You have no style.
Finch
You lack
got
style, yeah. Kampai.
Oh, Kampai. Finch got it and was super pumped on it until we kind of put it all together and realized that style free means non-alcoholic. So he was
Very familiar flavor.
He was blowing it, but nothing like a good super dry.
The non-alcoholic beer scene in Japan is something I actually really appreciate because there's super strict consumption laws while driving. So every restaurant, every bar basically offers a non-alcoholic offering. And so then there's a bunch of different non-alcoholic beers. It's actually pretty good.
Huh.
So they don't allow drinking while driving.
0.0. Yeah.
The other one we got was like I want to say it was a Heineken or something, but it was like a bold or something. It was really strong, almost like malt liquor. It wasn't good. Wasn't good at all.
Too much alcohol.
Yeah. But it's very difficult to know what you're going to get. You just got to kind of go with it. Boss Coffee, you kind of know.
Oh, yeah. Are you talking about the vending machines, right? Is that what you're getting?
Or like 7-Eleven, but yeah. Boss Coffee, Tommy Lee Jones, for no reason, just looking mad.
Oh, for sure.
That's right.
The boss of all bosses since
By the way,
1992.
Zero tolerance for drinking and driving, but drinking in public, no problem.
Yeah, it is one of those places, right?
So you can buy a beer and walk down the street with it. You can buy a beer or even whiskey out of a vending machine.
Gotta love
Eyeballs.
Are they still doing the weird stuff in vending machines? Is that a thing?
You can find it if you look for it, but it's not like something you'd find like on the
I'm
street.
not going to mention the.
I'll say one that I tried to find because it was like this urban legend, especially on
panties
in our side of the pond, if you will. Yeah, so we went to look for used panties because supposedly there's an urban legend that you can find used college or high school girl panties in a vending machine. And we went to the place, and we looked everywhere, and we were all hammered after going out for drinks, and I was with our distributor, and these dudes were literally going into the hentai shops and stuff and trying to find them, and they're like no, those don't really exist. And so I don't know if it's a thing. Maybe it was a thing at some point.
I think it was.
One of my friends got some at one point 5 or 8 years ago.
Nice.
But he had to go looking for them.
Yeah.
Where was this?
Does he still sleep with them? Or
Akihabara somewhere.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's where we went to. We went into the red light.
I did find a vending machine at a truck stop kind of in the middle of nowhere that was new underwear. And I think it was for your date. So you could freshen up. You could both freshen up maybe.
Okay. That's considerate.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah, that's cool.
So the weirdest thing
it.
that I saw, which was not weird perverted shit, but it was a dozen eggs.
Oh.
I was like, that was just a bizarre thing to
We
find
have
in a
a
vending machine.
weird thing over in Aptos at the Glom Egg Ranch.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's this weird vending machine that does eggs somehow.
It's kind of world famous for it.
Is it?
Is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It has little
I've never seen
animatronic chickens that do a little back and forth
it's
dance.
seasonal.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize it was
Whoa.
seasonal.
I haven't been there.
holidays. I'm surprised you don't know that. Being a
I
Watson
know,
book
it's
kid.
pretty close to my old neck of the woods, yeah.
What was I going to say? When I was there, they had a ramen vending machine, but it was just like cup of noodles. It wasn't like the
those are
fancy
pretty
ones
popular.
that they claim
There is
aren't making now.
an amazing vending machine place I went last week actually, which is a tire shop about an hour southwest of Tokyo that has, apparently the owner's been collecting vintage vending machines. Wow. And so there's everything from ramen to hot sandwiches to drinks to sake to batteries.
And they all work?
And they all work. And so the guy maintains them, and there's probably 50 of them.
Wow.
Wow.
It's like what do they call it? Like those, what is that one in Fisherman's Wharf? It's like the Mechatronic Museum or whatever the hell. It's like all the mechanical old like arcades or whatever. I forgot what it's called.
That. That's very cool. Well, thanks for coming. It looks like you brought some snacks.
A smorgasbord.
I don't know if this will be great podcast fodder.
I'm very
crunchy.
excited about two of these. Like legitimately, these are kind of scary.
So at least tell us what are we working with?
These the ones that are scary. We'll say are Strong Brand, the strongest potato chips. And it looks like it's a filet of fish sandwich flavor.
Yep, it says fish tartare on there.
Now, do you think the chips are physically strong?
I think the flavor is strong.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have Strong Brand. It looks like some seaweed and sauce.
Yeah, it's so that rayu is like a spicy chili oil normally.
Oh, that sounds good. And
then
what's this?
Those are amazing.
Calbee.
Those are pizza.
pizza?
Yeah, those are my favorite like Japanese chips. They're pizza flavored. They have real cheese on them. They're so good.
Oh, that's what those little chunky parts.
Yep.
Yeah, they're so awesome. And then this is what I'm looking forward to. This is a dark chocolate Kit Kat.
Oh, yeah, they have all kinds of different Kit Kats.
Yeah.
Huh?
These are my favorite of the crazy flavor Kit
Ooh,
Kats.
look, it says, I didn't see this part. It says fukai kakao no kaori.
Oh, no way. That's hilarious.
I knew it.
And that means a deep aroma of cacao.
Oh,
Deep aroma
Of cocoa?
of cocoa, yeah.
Cocoa.
yeah.
I think
Cacao
And then-
beans.
if we're translating.
So we have the highbrow Kit Kats, and then we have the lowbrow Crunky, which is one
Crunky.
of my favorite chocolates.
I read crunchy.
It's the same thing. It's basically like a Japanese crunch bar.
those are from Atlanta, I think. But they actually sell those, I think, at Mitsuya Market here in the States.
I have to try the dark chocolate.
Yeah, that's
Kit
more
Kat.
that's more reasonable for the
Or which one are we
podcast.
having?
These chips are going to be
Yeah, I want some
much
These
for the
pizza
podcast.
chips are so good.
probably going to
can save them for later.
Yeah,
See, the thing is-
we'll do it afterwards.
Okay.
From doing, from traveling to Japan over the years, like one thing I learned is that all of this shit has a tremendous amount of MSG, and I don't care. Like everyone's like, everyone
when
like
you're traveling,
MSG is like
especially.
evil and blah blah. And it's like,
Well, I
dude, it
think
makes
they-
everything taste amazing.
And I
so-
think they even like you can get MSG in a salt shaker. You
Yeah.
know, it's not like a
Yeah, but it's
Completely
evil.
forbidden.
Big MSG. Trying to take over the world.
Madison Square Garden.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess so. It's hard to even say what's any like restaurants have it anymore. I don't know.
Most Chinese places don't.
Right.
Well, you guys should listen to or viewers of this podcast should listen to the debunking of the MSG that has been done, and it's not actually a thing.
I think like
placebo, especially the migraine stuff, right?
Yeah, it's complete garbage.
David Chang is a big proponent. Who's Momofuku and stuff.
I will say, when I was a kid, if I had Chinese food, I would get an early headache.
Well, so it's not because MSG.
Okay, where's it from?
It's because just sodium in general.
Salt, probably.
So it's not. Yeah.
Okay.
These are amazing.
These are so good. They kind of I can't explain. It's like the
These are
texture
dark-
of the chocolate.
It's a little bit more firm.
Yes.
And a little bit more crunch.
Yeah.
So good.
Those are
Awesome.
Those are amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
It's really good.
I kind of want to try the fish tartare or whatever the hell that is, just for the sake of experiencing.
Just
we'll
wait.
we'll do it off camera or off mic.
Yeah,
Lauren.
go for it.
It's gonna be crunchy as
Let's
ice.
experience.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants
I'm
that.
leaning away from the microphone to try to eat this Kit Kat.
Live it up,
Oh, it
dude.
smells fucking gnarly.
See,
dude.
I wanted to hear that. Everyone wants to see that reaction.
All right, and the initial kind of in your face was pretty gnarly. It definitely filet-o-fish smelling.
He's chewing, folks.
It's a strong filet-o-fish brand.
It's actually really good.
I believe it.
It tastes just like a filet-o-fish.
Is it
love
more
tartar
fish
sauce.
forward or is it more tartar sauce forward?
It's more tartar sauce,
More tartar.
but creamy.
Tartar.
You want to try it? It's creamy.
All right, I'll try one.
It's so good.
I'm not into it, dude.
Yeah, I love tartar sauce.
I've been waiting for about a week to eat these because I got them and I was like, yes.
It's definitely more tartar sauce
you
with
haven't tried
like a
these?
little
No.
bit of fish.
It's the first time.
They're really good.
I would be so like living in Japan. I guess you get used to it, but I would be so tempted to try all this stuff. Like when I go to Mitsuya Market, I buy all this crap. I buy like at least 1 or 2 candies or some snacky thing that I've never tried before. Usually they're not that good, or they're not like mind blowing.
I went through all of them very quickly when I first arrived, and then seasonally they rotate, so I don't have to go crazy every time.
When the tartar's in season.
Yes,
Yeah,
these are
tartar
I
season.
think these fish are seasonal. I haven't seen this before until
This fish?
pretty recently. It's a fish season.
Fish season.
The
Looks like
pizza
it was a good season this year too.
The pizza's here year round.
Pizza season.
The pizza
pizza's
season is
year-round.
good.
That's good.
It's a sign of plenty. It's a sign of the times.
That's good. It was a good pizza year.
Interesting. It has chicken extract powder, cheese powder. So yeah, I mean it's definitely like creamy. I was trying to figure out what's so creamy about it, or what. But I guess it's the tartar sauce. Right?
It's quite good.
cheese,
I recommend
And
these.
cheese,
I mean,
yeah.
Creamy tartar sauce. All right, strong brand.
Strong brand. Yeah, and the cheese. I mean, I wish that we could get Warren to try the cheese Catabon because they're incredible. Yeah, you should try.
We will. I want to just enjoy it. Off air.
They're amazing.
Eyes closed.
Reactions,
What
Warren.
if we put them? like tartar on pizza on
Ooh, that's bold.
strong even.
it's a strong move.
Those Kit Kats are so good.
They're amazing.
They're not like dark chocolate. It's just
No.
like a less sweet chocolate.
less sugars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cacao.
And it has a crunchiness to the chocolate.
The crunchiness to the chocolate is what really makes it for me.
Yeah.
Delicate. It's more delicate.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it would melt in your hand even.
Less wax, maybe
Yeah,
more
I don't
cacao.
know, man. More cacao.
More cacao. Yeah, I could see that.
Oh, I love it, man. Yeah, there's this whole Japanese snack thing. There's like what's it called? A service. It's like it's a subscription, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen it where you can get like snacks from all over the world, and every month is different, and so
Yes.
you get them from everywhere. And I've had so we had it for a couple months through Jamie's work, and
A lot of shrimp-based items.
yeah, I had like Pakistani stuff, like little,
Oh.
like just all sorts of like bizarre. Like there was an Azerbaijani like little it was almost like a. What's not a fig? What is like the little, like the breakfast bars that have like the jam inside, but something like that. But it was like some weird like berry that we don't even have here.
My daughters always get these they're like surprise snack boxes at World Market.
Oh, okay.
And it's from Japan.
Yeah.
And you don't know what's in
That's
them.
cool.
A lot of like
So
little
it's
rice
kinda,
cakes.
it's like this stuff too,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
Little candies and stuff.
Well, we have a lot to catch up on in Japan life, but should we do questions first and then get to it, or
Sure.
There's also a whale in the room.
yeah, we got a
Well,
whale.
yeah, the
White-
old
white
Civic
whale?
Type bar in the
White whale,
background. I will say real quick because we're not going to totally review it today. I mean, I'll mention a couple things about it. We'll talk about it next week since when the whole crew drives it. But I want to give Lane a heads up because I don't want this to ruin the experience for you. Okay, we have to look past this.
Okay, can he?
Rev hangs.
The seat squeaks.
Oh, okay.
The driver's seat, on some bumps and turns, and the shifter squeaks on occasion from a third to second downshift.
Oh, wow.
I don't know, so it needs to be lubricated or some shit.
Yeah. Just lube it up.
Yeah,
Cool.
but otherwise, it's an interesting piece of machinery.
Just lube it up.
Yeah, I love the shifter. By the way, I will say that it's like a. We'll come back to it, but it is like
like a cool
mechanical
cow.
but buttery. It's like very slick, but but definitely like a well lubricated. People talk.
Oh,
they
yeah,
say
yeah.
bolt action rifles, like the stereotype, the cliche, but it's not quite that. It's a little bit more dampened, but
More
very,
rubbery, more rubbery than a rifle.
yeah, closer to it's
rubber
S2000y
rifle.
kind of.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Snickety.
Yeah, I do
Would you
like
say
it. It's
snickety, though?
it's a lot. That's the preview. It's a lot better than the Integra that we just had.
Oh,
It's-
wow.
So I mean, imagine that.
Was the Integra manual?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question time. Go to Instagram and ask us questions. We would love that. All right. We'll start at the top here. Can't sort them today, guys. Just
Okay.
wanted you to
Man.
know.
Sweet.
First time in a while, by the way.
First time in a while. They just decided today. Ain't happening. Bobby Reed with the Cars says, I asked Chat GPT to come up with a question for the Driving While Awesome podcast. Feel free to do what you will. Oh, this is great. So this is
Nice.
an AI question for us. Have you messed
Sweet.
with this, Clark? By the
I
way?
haven't tried this yet, but I'm probably the last one on the thing.
I haven't
Maybe.
either.
It's pretty funny.
I haven't done it either, but I've seen a bunch from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I've seen some. Like I follow a map account that has it shows borders and stuff of like history and things like that. And the last one they posted, it said captioned by ChatGPT, which is really, I don't know.
One of my friends wrote a recommendation letter for one of his other friends
Nice.
with ChatGPT, and
Yeah.
so I feel like it's
And you don't have to use it verbatim. You know,
he cut and paste a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
So how does it work?
It's just a dialogue box, and you say, write a car ad for a Porsche 944 with high mileage and a new motor.
Gotcha.
And it
You
would
say-
and
you
it'll
say
go-
like
in the style of your favorite author.
Oh, in the style of
you can ask whatever you want.
Yeah.
Edgar Allan Poe.
Or you could
Yeah.
say you could say write a poem about rallies with driving while awesome.
Gotcha. And you
then
give them
can
a
say-
little information.
Yep.
And then
you could
they
say-
look up the rest on.
Well, no, the
Googles and
the
stuff?
computer just comes
Basically.
up with,
I know, but it has to know stuff,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it has
it's-
to find it out through.
it's using all the search engine
All the
stuff.
search engine,
and
yeah.
then you can say, all right, make it shorter, and then it'll do it
Sick.
shorter. Or
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of rad, dude. It feels like writing a paper.
Well, that's the
Would
whole
be
argument.
Pretty nice, dude.
There's
Then
like-
you just go in and edit some stuff.
there's like 1,000 articles about basically like higher learning, like I don't know if it's literature or essay writing and stuff. Is
you know what?
Dead.
Higher learning has to change, anyways. The whole format needs to change. So
High school
let's
high.
start it here.
Exactly.
So I read an ad the other day that I could have sworn was written by a chat GPT, which I imagine someone might do because they don't know shit about their car. Look at this: clean black interior, spot seats, weather pump, fresh oil change, weight, special German brand.
But you know
That is perfect.
But don't you think ChatGTP is smarter than that? That's just more like
I don't know, but it
that's
seems
like
like-
those ads where you're like, I mean, you see those ads all the time.
Well, it's
right?
like English as a second language ads.
Yeah.
which
Right, but
just has
sometimes
words.
it sounds. But sometimes it's like that kind of shit where it's kind of like odd.
But would they say something like spot? They would use
No,
that
it
word
wouldn't-
correctly.
It would be used correctly.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
An early
That's
version
like-
of the algorithm.
It's early, dude. This is an early AI.
All right, getting back to our AI question here. Looking back at the enthusiast cars of the 1980s and 1990s, which models do you think have aged the most gracefully and still offer an exciting driving experience today? Are there any underappreciated models from that era that deserve more attention and recognition among car enthusiasts?
Before I answer
very
this,
nicely asked.
I would say this is a perfect chat GPT thing because it is the most generic question.
It's so generic.
and it like everything is encapsulated in it.
Yeah,
this
I was
entire
gonna say,
podcast.
how many
is-
years are we going to do this podcast about this question?
exactly.
Right? It's like everything we've talked about forever.
Yeah.
What
basically.
model has aged most gracefully?
So I feel like we don't even have to answer it.
I
I
know.
feel like we
It-
it's more about discussing the question.
You're like listen back from 1 to 7:59.
Yeah. Are there cars though that you see where you're like, that has gotten better looking every day as it's gotten older?
Definitely happens. Or there's cars that were not good looking.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
the
Or
front
not
engine
loved.
Porsches are
Yeah.
the-
944 comes to mind.
Blowing up right now.
968.
Yeah, or aged gracefully in that it just has with time literally has become more attractive, right? Like I feel like that's a thing where I don't know if it's initially it was like frowned upon, but it was just sort of maybe like not. It was kind of understated or maybe not. Like
Yeah,
a major,
underappreciated.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
well, everything
more
Japanese.
off the radar.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, I think one in particular that comes to mind is the Acura Legend Coupe first generation. Like that's a car at the time when it came out, it was actually a nice car, but it just kind of was a nice car and it was never anything. And now you look back and they're actually really, really nicely styled. They're proportionally very nice.
Yeah.
really cool
Yeah,
interiors.
but you know what? When they came out, that was a huge. They made a huge splash, dude.
yeah,
Like that was a big.
but they
thing.
kind of like didn't they had dip like kind of go like
Of
they
course,
kind of
but that's because
disappeared,
they
kind of vanished?
yeah, but they just became an old car, right? But
Yeah, but I feel like now they're really getting like they've
Are they?
yeah, like there's like big money cars coming out now, like lower mileage cars, manuals especially. But I agree with you. It was kind of like the LS situation, right, where it was a big deal. It was an expensive car.
I mean, I remember seeing them on the road, and it was like, oh, that's like this expensive version of Honda, and like learning about what it was, and it was like a big deal.
My neighbor, when I was little, who's a pharmaceutical rep, had one, and he was like the coolest guy. And he had a series of Acuras in the late '80s or mid '80s, and that I remember. But
those first gen ones had the box flares, which
yeah,
is cool.
great.
looking.
really cool.
I mean, they don't drive like anything though.
Honda.
Like they're just so Honda Accord or whatever,
Yeah,
but
it's a
kind of
nice-
heavier
it's
and
like a nice-
slower.
but it's like just like a cruiser, like a nice like just a nice everyday kind of GT.
Yeah.
But it's like I think,
But it's not even like a
aging,
GT. It's
No,
like
no,
just
it's more economy.
It's just an economy, like
Yeah.
luxury with leather. Like
I agree with that.
I've only driven a sedan years ago and it was an automatic, so I can't really.
but it's got all that like nostalgia, that small A pillars, a lot of good visibility, low dash, and
Yeah, but aged well, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's
aged
yeah,
very-
they still look.
there were
It's a
some
handsome
American
car.
cars recently that came through. It was those the Oldsmobile 442s that were from the 80s that we
like those oddball
never
ones that we
see
get?
here, but
Yeah.
they're like survived in the Midwest because people cherished them, or like on the East Coast, like Radwood, Charlotte. There's a guy that's bringing a GNX and one of these 442s, and those are so rad. They're like kind of sinister and cool. I mean, obviously, driving experience is totally
and
different.
fit and finish and build.
Like,
and
yeah, you close the door and
like-
stuff. It's like, but
Yeah.
seeing a nice one, like perfectly stanced on good wheels, like it's like, whoa, those are
They definitely have some like
have
presence.
presence, yeah.
for sure.
And I think Bonhams is selling at Amelia Island this year this Ford Cabrio that I'm not sure what it is, but it looks a little bit like a Volkswagen Cabrio, but a little bit like a Fox Body Mustang, and a little bit like an RS200.
Is it an ASC McLaren?
No, it's a Ford.
Like an Escort.
It might be an Escort. I don't know anything about American cars.
So it is like an ASC McLaren.
well. If it's an Escort, I could see that being like a little cabriolet.
Yeah, Escort.
Because the ASC
cab.
McLarens were convertibles, and they have a different rear.
Yeah.
Like they
but
look
that's
more like
that's a Fox body.
Yeah, it's
But you said
the
Ford.
XR3i Cabriolet.
Oh, so it's a little like it's like a British Escort.
those
It
are
is like an
those are
Escort,
those
yeah.
are European. Yeah, we didn't get those here.
It
Probably right-hand drive. Oh, trippy! Wow, it's
It-
kind of like the Escort that I like, but a Euro cabriolet.
Yeah.
I'm sure that thing has no flex,
Thing's
which
sick.
is cool.
Yeah, it's probably the tightest car around.
It's not 80s and 90s, but like these first gen new minis are pretty sick.
Yeah.
Like I didn't appreciate them a lot when they first came out. I was kind of like, it's just a little.
I would say the same thing about
Nostalgia
Nick's
thing.
GTI, like the
Oh, yeah.
337s,
And I never even was aware of those when they came out.
they're super tighty. They
Yeah.
have a very good look and timeless design.
those I think were appreciated immediately by younger people,
Yeah.
and then were dismissed by older people because younger people liked them.
Right.
And so now it's acceptable to like them.
Yeah, I was on the mini train very early on, but I couldn't afford it when they came out. Like just being a broke like college kid. But
Was it like one of those trains like at the boardwalk, like a little tiny one?
exactly like
You
that.
get on that?
But the only reason is because I got to autocross one, and like I experienced it, and it was for this Yokohama tire event, and I got invited, and like I got to rally the hell out of them, and I drove all of them, and it was super impressive. Like just a completely stock car with good tires, like how well
Yeah.
they drove. I mean,
Yeah.
handles extremely well, like really good, like on like off throttle rotation, like lift off, like oversteer, like and they're super fun. They sound great, all that jazz.
Okay.
Any other Radwood era?
This is anything that deserves more attention.
What about
and
a
recognition.
Starion, dude? Like a Mitsubishi Starion. They're so cool.
They're really cool looking.
I mean, I know that the engine's kind of like a truck motor or whatever, but like,
But
I mean,
I would
as
put
a
that
swap
right-
opportunity.
Right there with the Celica GTS. I mean, that same box flare, pop-up headlight.
Or are you talking about like the 80s?
Yeah.
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 I mean, it's the same. It's the same as like that
that's
generation
rear-wheel
300 ZX or something like that, right? It's like
So like more early, like 80s, like Z31.
it's like now when you compare it to now, you're comparing it to all the cars are the same price, right? So
Yeah.
you're comparing that now to an E30 or a 944 or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
It just doesn't have the same. It doesn't have the hardware that those cars have. It doesn't have like that's a worming gear steering car. They just have like so many things wrong with them basically, and then the fit and finish and the build is of a car that was half the price of those cars.
And then talk about
So-
like support and community. It's
Yeah.
a very
it's very
small.
it's small,
And
yeah, but there's
parts,
like,
yeah.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
think
It's like-
aesthetically, like they're super rad, but yeah, it requires like a lot of unfucking, like as you said.
Yeah.
Like we have, I mean, I know of a few people who, and we have one friend in particular who did an LS swap and put a rack and pinion steering in it, and like literally had to basically start from scratch.
Yeah.
And like it takes that, but to basically have that aesthetic, which is
Yeah.
tough. But they're so cool looking. For
And
sure.
then we know another guy that drives one across the country to Radwoods.
Oh right, yeah.
And his car's nice and everything, but he's had to rebuild the engine and do all this stuff, and it's still not a very fun car. From his own, what he tells us, it's all right, whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of go,
Yeah, it's like just a good looking thing, right?
Yeah,
But like,
yeah.
yeah, it doesn't have.
and it
all
has turbo written all over the seat belts, which
that's
is
cool
rad.
stuff.
That's pretty
yeah.
rad.
It's
Yeah.
like
There's a
and
lot
That's
of
worth
that,
buying
like,
just
cool.
on that.
cool
Pretty
gauge
much.
clusters, like
those touch points,
Yeah.
design stuff. But what about a Nissan Sentra SER? Those are sort of like overlooked in the
but
period.
they've always had like a following, right? It's just
Yeah,
they're just so rare.
Yeah, and if you look at prices,
There's just so
they're
few
like,
of them.
Yeah, they're very rare.
Yeah, because
The nice
they were all
ones.
destroyed or rusted
Yeah.
away.
There's a guy on Instagram that has a red one I sent to Art, but he's done a few like tasteful.
He did like the
mods.
Mexican front end and all that.
Is
like
that what that is?
Yeah, those are
the lower fog lights.
That's all from Mexico because they made
It's a
them
very
until the
square-
2000s or whatever. So
Right,
they have
right.
updated headlights.
It
that
looks
look
so cool. They're kind of like a little E30. I mean,
Yeah, very
front wheel
much.
drive, but
Yeah.
The proportions are really nice.
they're so good, and you never see them. I mean, we do at Radwood, but that's obviously cheating.
It's like slim 3-box design.
Yep.
But the simplest version
simple.
of that. Like, yeah.
And like, there's a good
Which
little
is
motor.
kind of E30-esque.
Yeah. Front wheel drive. All right. Automotive Omnivore says, which car from 90210 would you let your kid drive to high school? Wow, I need a refresher course. So
356 Speedster.
yep. Was there a Fox body
They
involved?
had a
There's
Defender 90.
Defender 90
Yeah.
US
the
US
NA
one.
or whatever it's called. Yeah, the
Fox body?
95.
Did Jason Priestley drive a Fox body?
There was a convertible.
It
Fox.
was. Yeah, Jason Priestley drove, I believe it was a light blue Fox body convertible.
That's what comes to my mind.
Dylan drove a C4 Corvette. No, sorry, not Dylan. Steve.
Yeah.
Steve Sanders
yeah.
drove a C4 Corvette.
Which is so perfect for his character.
Oh yeah, he's such a douche.
Yeah.
And with his flowing locks.
But then
And
Dylan drove a 356.
first episode there was a 65-ish Mustang
First
convertible.
episode. Look at this guy.
It was light yellow.
How do you know that?
He's Mr. TV trivia.
Well, no. How do you know that?
What?
What do you mean what?
It might have been more than the first episode. It might have been
What
like
do you mean what?
That was
I
like
think it was just the first
1990.
though. I think it was like the
You
what do they
rewatched
call that?
you rewatched the series, didn't you?
Not in a long time, but I have rewatched.
The whole thing.
No, not the whole thing.
But the first episode.
Yeah, that's where you start. I'm not one of those people that starts in the middle.
Well, maybe it gets good.
Not
Like
an animal.
Seinfeld doesn't get
Yeah.
good till like season 4.
Yeah,
No, but you have to start at the
Seinfeld's-
beginning. You have to,
Seinfeld's not episodic like the like
No,
90210.
but I just watched Seinfeld, and it is. If you watch, it builds.
absolutely does.
Okay,
And
but
so-
it's a very slow build.
Yes,
It's
yes.
not like you don't have to be like, oh shit, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, you
like,
can jump in anywhere.
why
really.
is Donna Martin graduating or what is happening?
How old is she?
What? Huh?
Wait, no. Who's Donna
Tori
Martin?
Spelling.
Yeah, so
who's
Tori's
the nerdy one?
That's Andrea.
She was like 48
She
in
was
the show.
Shit. It was like 30. I want to say she was something like 30 when it started or something.
my God.
And the show was on
High
from
school.
Yeah.
92 to I don't
98
know,
or something.
something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe she was, and Dylan was something like 28 when it started.
And did they all just grow up and then move to Melrose Place? Is that what
I
happened?
think, yeah.
They
yeah, I
just
think
all
so.
moved in.
Yeah.
They just started living together?
So-
Moved to Mulholland Drive.
All right,
Dude,
so
So
356 is out. They're gonna get
Mustang,
killed.
this is to drive to
Corvette,
Yeah. 356 Speedster.
Speedster, and Defender.
Defender.
And, yeah. And then
I think they would have a lot of fun.
Mustang.
Wasn't there like a cabriolet involved?
school. They would have a lot of fun in a Defender. I mean, my kids, like, and piling people in, top down, slow car, just kind of cruising around.
I want
I
to
vote
say
for that as well.
I want to say Shannon Doherty never drove because
She was
her
drunk
and
all
her
the time.
brother drove together always.
So,
Well,
so
those-
years ago, I don't know.
Oh,
this
what
is
did
one of those,
Kelly
like-
have? Or what did Kelly have?
I don't remember.
She had to have something. Oh, she might have had an E30.
She did?
E30 convertible.
Oh, that
maybe.
sounds right.
Oh, that
And I
sounds
think
right.
it might have been red.
That's cool, but they're small. Like, interior is really small, so you can't bring all your friends, really.
Well, so there's sort of like an off thing, which is limousines are featured relatively frequently in the show.
yeah.
So
Commute into
commute
school
in like a Cadillac, like a
Yeah,
limousine
yeah.
would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So I can't remember who it was, but I think it was Tori Spelling. She crashed the Corvette for one of the scenes. Like, she was supposed to be like to drive for this thing, but it was not. It was like a thing that was never like published or publicized. And someone took the blame. I can't remember who it was, but
Right.
one of the guys actually said it was him, and in reality, it was Tori Spelling, and he
Oh,
got in
wow.
trouble.
In reality.
In reality,
I have a list here. I
Yeah,
forgot
yeah.
this website exists, but Internet Movie Cars
Oh, right.
database.
That's a
Was I pretty good? I mean,
Well, it's a
or were-
really long list. But
is it
yeah,
with the
let's-
yellow background? That
So we
movie?
got Ford Falcon.
Who drove that?
Episode 4.
Which
Season
generation?
4, episode 1. It does not say. It just says
Yeah,
convertible.
Yeah.
But it's probably like a classic.
It's in the
60.
background
It's
or
like your
something.
brother's lane.
Yeah.
Okay, Nissan van, Dodge 600, 1990 Toyota Celica. Season 2, episode 6. It was a coupe.
Yeah, but that's like one.
Oh, motorcycle, BMW K1.
Can you sort it by recurring characters?
Yeah, we need the recurring ones.
Look how long this list is. It goes on
Yeah,
forever.
see, we
Yeah,
don't.
we don't
that's
read
just-
that
like
list.
make
That's just
appearances.
every
can't-
car that's
we
ever
need,
been
like,
in the movie, but
Yeah.
like,
all of the
or
characters'
show.
cars we need.
No,
right?
I can't. Unfortunately, it's not.
I think we got a pretty good list though.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30. They're all. Most of them are cabs, by the way.
Makes
I
sense.
mean, it's
Yeah,
just
no
good,
doubt.
good on screen.
How do they do
Yeah,
this?
good to
Who
shoot.
is who? How?
I mean, it's like people like Lane.
I mean, people can.
I would be down, dude. Hey, by the way, you have to watch every season, and then write down what cars are in it.
We're talking background cars.
Sure.
Cars in parking lots.
He's there with the computer.
Dude, there's the Seinfeld one's pretty gnarly too. Have you seen that?
Seinfeld's insane.
Yeah, there's a bunch of shit.
Most of them were his cars.
Someone just sent me DM me it was a shot of an NSX. I think it was what's his face, the mailman. What's his name? Newman, NSX, and he's playing the wolf or something in this episode, and he comes around 90-degree turn, like totally sideways, and then like rolls up and steps out or whatever. But as he does that, there's a Saab 900 turbo.
Yeah, which is Jerry's car.
And that's Jerry's car. Yeah.
By the way,
same shot.
There are so many cool cars in this because it all stopped in the 90s, right? Yeah. But it's got everything from back in the day. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff. So 928 S4, Suzuki Sidekick,
dude, BMW
Nissan Stanza
K1
wagon.
Awesome.
Let's not forget 1986 Gillig Phantom.
The hell is that?
It's probably like an Excalibur or something. So unfortunately, it does not break it down by appearance or like strength and numbers.
So what are you letting your kids drive?
I'm Defender
90 for sure.
Yeah.
Fox body.
You want them to do smoky burnouts all the way to school and back?
Yeah, dude. I'll do Defender. Defender sounds good. They're not really going to probably go on the highway. They're just going to drive to school in town.
Just around town.
In town.
Slow. They're cruise around.
Slow.
Tire all your friends in there.
Slow, torquey V8.
They're out late at night. They're drinking.
They're going to school.
Would you rather than be drinking the Defender or drinking as doing smoky burnouts in the Fox body?
I know, right? Just
Dude,
immediately.
Fox bodies are so safe.
Convertible,
like sitting on the back of
so safe.
on the back of the rear seats.
They never spin out.
No roll bar.
They never drift into
They
curbs.
never lose traction.
Never.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lane.
And the Defender was green, I believe.
Mod Classic Cars says, my neighbor likes to say that a person should not have more cylinders than years. I'm 53 years old with 49 cylinders, so he and I are cool. What does that mean? Like currently or like ever?
I think
currently, yeah.
What do you gents think about this rule of thumb? Sage advice or nervous Nellyism?
I have no idea.
Who among you can we dub the Piston King?
Whoa. I don't understand why it matters cylinder to age count.
You should never have
so
more
if you're 8
cylinders.
years old, you shouldn't have an 8-cylinder car?
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
But I don't understand.
16, you got 2 V8s? What are you trying to do?
Wow.
All right, let's count them up.
Well, what does everyone have?
Clark has like 70 cars.
16 times 3? No, it's not even times 3. Some of them have 2. This makes it harder. So let's say half the cars have 2.
Well, then you have four. You have
2 cylinders?
You have 4-cylinder cars.
I have 1 4-cylinder car.
All the trucks, a lot of the trucks, the air-cooled ones had 2 cylinders.
Your wife has a 4-cylinder car.
That's true, yeah. If the family cars.
You got multiple 4-cylinder cars.
I have 2 4-cylinder cars, her Civic and my S2000.
What about your Honda S800?
The S800 is a 4, and the S600 is a 4 as well. Okay, I forgot I had those two.
Here we go. Nice. Forgot.
Okay, so I have 4 4-cylinder cars.
Okay.
Whoa. And then I have
do that math.
between 12 and 16 K cars.
Between 12 and 16, folks.
Maybe half of them are 3 cylinders and half of them are 2 cylinders.
Who could ever know?
I don't keep track because if I keep track, I have to keep track. You know,
and your mind would have that information.
Yeah.
I only have 14 cylinders.
Are you counting your wife's cars?
Nope.
I'm not sure if that's fair.
Yeah, I think it's only the ones that are yours.
Only yours?
Nah,
Yeah.
I don't know, 'cause you have to care about them.
I have 0 cylinders outside. Then I have 2 6-cylinders and half of 4.
Half of 4?
Yeah.
Oh, right. The Polestar.
Half a bug.
Yeah.
Half a bug. And a Ruckus, 1 cylinder.
Well, I don't even technically own it. I've never paid Clark for it.
Oh, I forgot. I forgot about that.
You forgot about
Did I give you the title?
Nope.
I have. Yeah. Well,
Transactions.
we'll work on that.
I'm glad I brought it up. That was good timing.
So I have 4 cylinders that are not even in a car that are just.
That's true. That counts though.
But does it? Because when you exchange the cylinders,
no. He
it's a
owns
clean
them both
transaction.
now. He doesn't.
Both
he has
engines
to,
are still
they haven't been
transacted.
transacted.
Yeah, so that's 10 right there.
What if you have cylinders with no pistons in them? Does that count?
Cylinder? Whoa.
Just like a block?
Come on. Who has that? Who has that?
People have that.
People have just
I
blocks laying
don't.
around? That's classic.
By the
What
way, I
would
just sold.
Joe DePadista's count be?
Oh, we don't want to know about that. I just sold my Vanagon motor. I
Sick.
shipped it out 2 days ago.
How did you ship it?
On a pallet.
Strapped it down?
You had to do that?
Yeah.
How'd that
ratchet
go?
straps?
Transaction happen?
Ratchet straps.
eBay?
actually, so I got the motor from Will, Dusty Snowman, and then his neighbor friend on Orcas Island blew their motor in their van again. And he said, "Hey, do you want to sell your motor?" I was like, I wasn't really wanting to, but at the same time, it's been sitting for 2 years or 3, I don't even know, 3 years. And it might sit there for
another 10 years.
10 years, who knows, right? And the price was right, and helping someone out, gone.
Nice. How was the shipping process?
Pretty easy, actually. There's a company that just specializes in shipping engines. They use other, FedEx and XBO and all these other.
And they're
providers.
local?
No, well, they're like nationwide, but they just set it all up.
But
They just do motors as their thing.
Did you have to provide your own pallet?
Yeah, I had to go find a pallet and then pick the engine up and put it on
So
the
behind
pallet.
Safeway
And then I'd
and
like
just snagged one or what?
build a little frame to hold it so it wouldn't rock around and then strap it in and stuff.
Pallets are very, very strong, I learned. Each one can hold like over 3,000 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But only if you load it right. Because if you drive over one, it'll shatter.
That's true. Or if you drop it from an airplane, it's going to just break in half.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to drop it from an airplane. But I recently, because I was trying to figure out like how to build little platforms for cars to display, and like you can stack.
That's evenly distributed because you're basically saying how much weight can fit on a 2x4 on its side support.
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot of weight.
Quite a bit. Yeah.
This is true.
Anyways, so that got rid of 4 cylinders on my end.
Okay.
Oh yeah, so you're
eliminated.
missing 4
But
cylinders.
I wouldn't have thought of that. So I'm glad you guys brought it
So
up.
between the Skyline, the E36, and the E46, that's 18. I'm not including Jamie's car, and then
Plus 10.
and 10 here. Yeah,
28.
So 28 cylinders. I have room.
You're good.
Yeah. I have the most, so.
Clark's 100 cylinders.
Yeah.
Basically.
20.
No.
That's an interesting thing. I mean, I think it's just an old man's way to limit how much junk he has.
What are
really.
you at? 60 something?
60 something, yeah. Plus all the Motocampo.
Oh,
and
geez. Yeah.
How many cylinders in the motor combo?
only one, but I have a bunch of them.
You have 7 of them?
Yeah, 67 of
You
them.
know what's funny? There's people that have never seen a motocompo
It's true.
that are really into motorcycles and really into JDM stuff, and they've never seen a motocompo.
Yeah, for
and
a while,
you
they
have
were like
7 of them.
Yeah, for a while they were like non-existent.
But
Here.
that's
You never saw
that's
them.
Clark's retirement fund, so let's
I
not make fun
know,
of him for
I
it.
know.
I
Yeah, what
did
are
buy
they-
them well.
What are they up to now? Like
Yeah,
10
for
G's
sure.
a piece?
I'm not sure. I don't look because I don't want it, the
Dude,
temptation.
Bitcoin.
he has like 2 or 3 that have never been run.
I have 3 new in box. Well, I don't have the box anymore, but they're new. I have like the
on.
sealed bag with the accessories in them.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I mean-
that's like 15 G's for sure these days.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
I can't do the math on my cylinders, but Clark has me beat, so we're good.
But he's blowing it.
Though I have
According to the
I
rule.
might have a smaller total displacement than some of you guys because all my cylinders are very small displacement cylinders.
600-ish, right?
Oh wait,
Or some of them are only 360.
So he's saying also here that it says, "Who among you can we dub the Piston King? He with the highest cylinder count. All gas-fed machines and contraptions count.
Oh.
So add up those
Okay.
chainsaws, jet skis, Lane,
Oh.
generators, weed whackers, in
Oh, I have
addition
a
to the
generator.
cars and motorcycles.
All my weed whackers and stuff are electric now.
Mine are all electric.
I do have
as
a
well.
gas generator, which I haven't used in a long time, but that's 1 cylinder. You have one.
Same.
Okay, here we go. We're really getting into something now.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't have a lawnmower.
I got
don't
rid of
have
my
a chainsaw.
lawnmower. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, what about my little compressor? I have a little. I have
do
two.
too.
I have 2 compressors.
Oh, what? You rich?
Yeah. Well, one, like the little tiny, like the ones to pump your tire air or whatever. Those have a cylinder in them, and then I have a pancake or whatever, like that style.
That's another.
There's another one.
That's 2 more.
2 more. So 30 cylinders.
I think we're not beating Clark, but are any of us besides Clark over our age?
Nope.
No.
No. Pretty close though.
How many cylinders in here right now?
Surprisingly
A lot of
few.
4s,
Yeah.
right? A lot of 4-cylinder
Yeah,
cars.
yeah, yeah. There's an 8. There's a 6. There's 2 8s, actually.
All right.
Yeah.
Swedish Cadillac says, "What is the coolest car each of you has directly influenced a friend to buy with their own money?" Art actually has a story about this recently. Ah. Okay.
Wait, why is?
I thought there was more to the question.
That's it.
Oh, okay.
How
all
do we
right.
know Art has a story about
He
this?
told us about it.
I texted you guys. So yeah, a friend of ours.
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah,
he's
yeah.
got a pretty nice little quiver of cars. He's going through and trying to like check off different like drivetrain layouts and shit. He's got a 997.2 GT3 RS. He's got a Subaru STI. He's got a 66 Mustang Fastback that's fucking amazing. That's like just everything you can imagine has been done to it. And he just got a Ford Focus RS that I got him hooked up with Mountune to do some crazy stuff too. Like he's going to build a full rally car and actually race it. And he wanted like, because he doesn't necessarily need a super practical car in addition to his Metris, like, but he wants something fun to just tool around in on occasion. And he doesn't have a good like 6-cylinder front engine rear wheel drive vehicle. So, I recommended an M2 CS, and he found one in Hawaii where he has a place, and the price was right.
He found it in Hawaii?
In Hawaii, yeah. And the price was right, and it had been sitting, dude. And he actually got it. They had listed it for X. He got it for $5,000 under, like, because he bought it cash on the spot because the car had just been sitting there. Like, you know, people, I guess they want to deal with shipping it or whatever.
And it was a nice color, huh?
Super rad, yeah.
With
very
like
low
light
mileage
gold
car.
wheels. It was blue with
light gold wheels, yeah. And
it was used.
yeah, lightly used. It's like I want to say like maybe 1,500 miles or something like that. Yeah,
Trippy.
yeah. So really rad car, and yeah, he bought it on the spot. And that car is, as you guys know, I mean, that's not depreciating. I mean, that's a special car, and BMW's not making any more of those. So that's very recent. Yeah,
I like it.
I can't recall one.
As a young tween, I was really into Volvos, and I ended up buying a V70R, and I just loved 850Rs.
tween.
Before I could drive, though, I liked Volvos. My parents had a 240 wagon. I just always liked Volvos, and my friend's dad was looking for a car, and I convinced him to buy a Volvo. I think the S70 had just come out, and
The Saint.
the Saint, well, C70, yeah, but same idea. And
Yeah,
he's a
E70.
lifelong Volvo owner now. He actually has a bad back, and
perfect car for a bad
and
back.
he said the seats are amazing, and he just replaced it with a brand new Volvo at Volvo Monterey recently, and I think he's owned like 6 since I
Nice.
had him buy one. It's just a random thing. I mean, I think he likes it because of the seats mainly, but you know, they're good value, good cars.
That's a big one though. Life changing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were all in, and even his spouse too. Like they both have Volvos.
Cool.
So
My mom had a string of new Honda Accords, 2 or 3, and then I convinced her to get a Volvo T5 850R. So it's post T5R. So it's like 97, I guess. So I convinced her to get an 850R because I convinced her that she needed power and a car with better brakes. So she got that, and then that like caused her to buy kind of more premium cars after that.
Just in general, like she noticed
Like after that, she wasn't going to go back, basically.
yeah.
So after that, she had like a new A4, and then she bought a new All-Road, and then she bought a new, she just had she always bought like new European cars, basically.
Nice.
same idea though, right? Like you set her up for
Yeah.
the nicer things in life. Mm-hmm. She said, "Fuck those Accords."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good. By the way, Hondas are awesome. Anything, Clark?
Well, maybe not necessarily me directly, but my wife and I helped encourage her mom to switch from a Mercedes SUV to a Hyundai SUV, partially after you guys were recommending, and we'd been reading great things about them in the the motoring press, and she's super happy to make the switch. She had a series of Mercedes SUVs, which she never really liked because they were always all finicky, and she absolutely loves the Hyundai.
Very cool. I like it. Art?
Yeah, there's been a bunch of stuff like over the years, but not as like that was a big recent one. But I remember I actually our friend Matt had a Boxster for a bit, that Arena Red car.
Oh yeah.
That was my coworker's car, and I told Matt like you should totally get this car based on how much he was asking, and I knew it was a good car as well. Like the guy had it since new, and he had maintained it well. I think it might have been the second owner actually, but he had all records and everything for it, and he did end up buying it and owned it for I think a few years.
Nice. Richard Chen says, it's Netflix Drive to Survive release weekend coming up. That's awesome. Is it okay to drag the viewing into the 2023 racing season, or must we all binge this in one sitting prior to the first race?
I don't think there's any rules, but I'm definitely binging it in one night.
I know Lane is, but it's like, isn't it like 6 hours or?
Yeah.
I mean, that's one night.
I'm gonna try to binge it. Yeah, I'll try to do like 2 or 3 days. But
Yeah. Maybe it'll take 2 days. But
What do you guys think about? Well, I shouldn't even ask Lane, but if you have a kid and wants to watch it, it's got a lot of swearing in it, and it's a little tricky.
yeah, what?
I can't. Do
Why
it.
are you not going to ask me?
Because you swear in front of your kids all the time.
What? I don't understand what's so bad about swearing.
I didn't say anything's bad. I'm curious if you have any thoughts on if
I mean,
if a younger kid should be subjected to adults swearing at each other.
I don't think swearing is that bad, and they're not saying like "fuck you" in it and all this stuff.
Definitely they are.
Not really. No, they're
100%.
not really.
What's his name?
Yeah, they are, dude.
What's his name? The German or the
Gunther?
Swiss guy.
Okay,
yeah.
Gunther
And
is saying
Yuki?
you're a fucking idiot. I guess. Yeah, but
all the time. All the time, dude. But they're talking shit about each other.
Yeah, but I
not
mean,
like,
Wankers, Lane. We
I
look
think
like
your
fucking
kid's probably
wankers.
smart enough. You can have that conversation with them
yeah.
about what's acceptable, what's not, and this is a show. And it's not,
I
you know?
want to think so, but it's definitely like exposing them to.
Well, I just feel like if she
But
says
he's
it
probably
in
exposed
school,
to it
then
every
that
day in
escalates
school.
and all
Yeah,
that, and
yeah.
she's very receptive to that kind of stuff. So I'd
But
rather not.
Is she already not saying it? Because I remember when I was fairly young when we started staying at school, I didn't say it in my house for like, maybe I've never said it until I was like in college in front of my parents. But in school, like from, like first grade, we were experimenting with how we could insult each other.
For sure.
Experimenting.
Yeah.
I remember the first time my parents heard me swear, I was basically cussing someone out. I was about 9 out in like our driveway kind of, and she was like calling me in for dinner, and I was just drop like motherfucker or something, and it didn't go well. I'm gonna say that right now.
Yeah, you were in second grade, dude. I would
Yeah.
never swear in second grade.
Do your kids swear?
No.
No.
Especially, no, I've never heard.
I think starting in middle school, my parents were pretty chill about it. They didn't care.
Yeah. Middle
but
school's-
like before that, I have a
Dude, I
7
remember a
months
little
ago, so-
kid, like when I was in third grade, or a neighbor friend was like,
Yeah.
swore at us, or
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
and it was like, dude, it was like we can't play with him anymore,
He's like damaged goods.
Yeah, we all knew the words and stuff, but we would never dare like say them.
I know. We'll see. That's what I'm saying. It's
So
like
I think kids are pretty resilient. I think the idea of pretending that kids don't know the words
Yeah.
is silly.
no. But
and
I'm
so-
talking about 6-year-old.
I'm on the same boat. Yeah. So it's like this is definitely exposing them to that. Like it's
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
my
Andrew, my son, would love this show more than anything.
yeah.
Like, do you take your kid
What-
to the
is
racetrack
there-
into the
or-
pits, and like, do you take your kids in public?
Yeah. But
Dude,
this is
but
more.
I think you're exaggerating how much swearing there really is. It's gonna be one episode with Gunther that there's a lot of swearing, and not the
I
others.
thought the same thing, and then I remember watching last season, thinking like, because Andrew wanted to watch it, and there's just a lot. Some of it's beeped out, and some of it's not.
I don't know if there's a feature though to like maybe because you can do closed captioning. Whatever. I don't know if there's
Yeah, I
like a
don't-
clean version or
I
something.
don't think there is.
I guess, yeah. I know my kids are definitely exposed to swearing because I swear a lot. But I don't know. I don't think
swear,
swearing
Lane.
is that big of. They
you do it
know
again.
like when it's right.
Yeah.
that it's not right to swear at school and stuff like that.
Is
So
Heidi dropping F-bombs in front of him?
never, dude. She'll be like, that is. She will not use a swear word.
Yeah. What do you think of that? You're like, come on. What are you trying to be clean for?
I'm
Dude,
like,
I would love to see that. Like, if there's a clean version where they do the dubbing where they're like
Frickin' A.
Yeah, like one of the best ever because
no, it'd be like hams and eggs.
That's the
Jamoke Allman idiot.
What's it called? Big Lebowski. Because they actually like they got involved. Like
Worst.
they actually chose the words and they're amazing. It's like that's what you get for giving a stranger scrambled eggs.
That's right. Terrible. Noye Classic says, we just replaced Sarah's Volvo XC40 with the Genesis GV70. Great car, lousy buying experience though. Hyundai,
Yep.
but it got me thinking. Oh, I'm sorry. Lousy buying experience through Hyundai, but it got me thinking. What other car brands followed the same model of initially selling their new line through an existing dealer network? Oh, I see. So he had to buy the Genesis through Hyundai.
I don't think anybody's done that, dude. That was that's what we've been telling Ben Roget. Like when he was working for them, I'm like, dude, what the fuck are they doing? Like that should be like Lexus immediately had a separate branch, like their own dealership model and like everything because they have a premium customer, right? So it's like
even if it's on the same site,
people,
yeah,
even if it's on the same lot,
separate building,
separate
exactly.
box.
Accurate is the same thing. Like if you're trying to entice a certain customer and that comes from and has an expectation, right, of customer service and even just like furnishings and fittings at the place, right? And like,
can you imagine Lexus
coffee
being sold in a Toyota dealership? Like it'd just be so weird.
Well, it just would it just lowers the value of the brand, really. Like it's not, it just sucks, dude. Buying my Kia, I swear to God, I bought it. It was like, I can't even explain how trashy the dealership was. I bought it.
I mean, you're dealing with the lowest credit scores.
It was like, I can't
like, what would it be like
dude.
buying like a barrel of pickles or something?
No, probably worse. It was like a flea market, dude. It was like, it was like the
like
actual dealership.
So were there
is-
Monster Energy like flags anywhere?
Dude, they
or-
couldn't afford flags. It was so bad. The building was like from 1970, whatever. It was probably started out as a who knows, like a Cadillac dealership or whatever. And then it had gone through all these years and it had never been updated basically. And it just deteriorated over time. So it was just
So
trashed. And these are, by the way, like, I think, and Kia's definitely like taken a turn where there's like some expense, like they have the EV6 or whatever,
Yeah.
the electric,
They're definitely trying
like
to, like,
$70,000 cars
go
on the
up
lot,
market,
and then our car was 50 something. There's like a lot of nice like, and then you're buying this like brand new expensive shiny thing at this
because
like,
prior to this
dirt hole.
like current generation, it was the Stinger and the K900 were
the
top
two
dogs.
dude, I saw a
yeah.
K900 on the way down today.
Dude, they
really?
sold like 5 of
They're
those.
I've never seen one before.
never seen one either.
I remember when they were doing
The story. Remember the story about that?
yeah, they were like trying to get the
They
dealerships
charged the dealerships to sell them. Each dealer had to pay something like $50,000 buy-in just to sell a K900. And most dealerships are like, "Fuck you! Like, why? You guys are only making how many of them? And and why would I pay that much? I'd have to sell how many
That'll
to make
be
a profit."
weird car. Like, I mean, it's weird now,
Yeah.
but in 20 years, that'll be a very
Well,
strange one.
it seems like one of the bigger issues is why did they decide to do franchise dealer anyway with this and not do direct to consumer?
Yeah,
because
right?
everybody is excited about direct to consumer.
I think it's because they were almost like too early
They were
in
a
that
little early, yeah.
split. It was like it wasn't a thing
Perhaps.
enough of a thing yet because this was what, like 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah,
The
but it is
Genesis
happening
split?
now, though. I did.
They should
Yeah,
just-
I just had this
it is
conversation
happening?
with Ben. Yeah, because we were talking about that. I'm like, this is something that I've never mentioned on the show, but it's like something that I do think about. Like, like if I were to get like a Ford, whatever, like, it is a snobby thing to say, but it's not going to be the same experience as going to the Porsche dealership, like, I mean, and that's the experience that, it's a different, and all of it, right? It's everything. It's like, it's the actual place itself as you're describing, like, the fucking couches and the coffee machine, whatever
yeah.
that's like that, but also just the customer service and the treatment and like how efficient they are and how like communicative they are. And like it's amazing how
And
good they
Lexus
are.
is supposed to be like the most
Yeah.
amazing.
And
And then
it's interesting-
Saturn was really good. I don't know if you get, I mean, Saturn's not a luxury car, but
They
that
tried-
was
they
a
were known
spin-off,
for that.
and
They
they
tried
were
to
known for
differentiate.
being like,
Yeah.
I remember I went with a friend to buy a used BMW at a Saturn dealership, and it was like, they were so friendly and like, hey, there's donuts over there, and you guys, here's this. And
Pre-pandemic car
Yeah.
dealership days.
yeah.
And
Those
it,
are the best.
it seems super hit and miss though, because I went to the Subaru dealership in Silicon Valley and I wanted to test drive a BRZ. This was years ago when I first moved to California, and they wouldn't let me test drive until I had negotiated a price with them. And then I went to the Toyota dealership and I wanted to try the FRS, and they're like, "Here are the keys." They didn't even ask me. They threw the keys at me. They didn't even look at my driver's license, and they're like, "Come back whenever you feel like it." And
That's because there's no real like that's all dealership to dealership. It's all owner to owner.
Exactly, that's the point.
and-
Yeah,
and
yeah.
manager to manager.
Yeah.
There's no like, it isn't like Tesla or these companies that are more like, or Rivian probably, like where it's not Rivian's all owned by Rivian,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, direct to consumer as well.
So they're all gonna they be the same. They're all gonna treat you. They're gonna have the same rules and all that stuff.
Man, I saw a new Rivian R1S. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
RS1?
R1S.
The SUV.
In like a silver grayish blue, grayish kind of silvery blue. Looks so good. It looks better and in person.
Yeah,
in good
I really liked
colors.
them.
So I took delivery of an R1T today.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I just right before I came here, I went to the Rivian
Finally came in.
dealer and picked up an R1T.
Did I mention on the show that I'm out on the Rivian?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Said
so
it's not going to work.
yeah. So Jamie's like not interested. She really likes the Cayenne. She loves the way it drives. She likes the way it looks, and she likes the size, which is a big thing. Size was when we were shopping around for cars, and she doesn't want 3-row. And
R1S is pretty small.
How are you going to fit all your stuff and a dog in that Cayenne?
How are you going to go to Tahoe in a Cayenne?
You do it already? You have a dog already?
No, but the dog just goes in the back.
Yeah, you're fine. And your kids are old enough,
Dude,
getting
that's
old
such a
enough
And
now.
then the seat goes away.
You don't have car
and-
seats and stuff.
Exactly. But I think I'm okay with that also because she eventually wants to replace it with another Cayenne.
How do you?
So
Wait.
Like,
Stop
I'm fine
for a
with
second. Like if they go on a trip, that's 3 duffel bags, right?
you know what's cool about the Cayenne?
What?
The rear seats slides forward.
Like 1 inch?
No, like 10. And so it actually opens up the backspace a ton, and the kids still have enough room, like enough leg room. So that's been a lifesaver. Like we never really like are maxed out. Like it's actually really
Plus a dog.
well, the dog is there space for the
And the
dog?
dog.
I mean, the dog's kind of hard with anything, though.
Not with a full size SUV. It's not.
Yeah,
Or a
it
minivan,
still
it's
is.
not. No.
A full-size SUV, it still would be.
A minivan, no. You
a
fold down the third row and you have a huge.
Well, no, I don't want a minivan.
I know you don't want a minivan. But
I know,
I'm
you're saying minivan.
You're saying anything. That's
Okay,
not
then
true.
a minivan, not. Okay, then most things.
Full-size SUV, minivan.
Full-size
full-size
SUV, I
van.
still think it would be. The back of like
You fold
an
down the rear
Escalade
seat.
or whatever, but then you're folding down the rear seat. It's the same as having the rear in the Cayenne. I mean, it's a little bigger.
No, 3-row SUV.
It is deeper, but I mean,
Guaranteed it's
but-
twice the cargo space.
You're such an American,
about
Warren.
twice.
I'm just saying. Like,
I mean, it's not. I'm not going to drive a Suburban, Warren.
no, I know you're not.
Like,
I know you're
but-
not.
but I mean, that would
but
be the
like,
thing. I
Cayenne's
mean-
like on the small end of the spectrum, right? And then you go bigger, right?
Yeah,
Like
I mean, yeah, but I
3-row.
think R1S is maybe a little bit. It's like it's a little
It's-
bit bigger,
I don't
but it's not
thi-
enough
not-
to like.
not really-
but
not
it's
that
not
much
even
bigger.
enough to really like justify. I
R1S
wanted
is
it.
smaller than an R1T.
I just wanted I wanted a nice EV new thing, and I
Yeah.
like the way it looks. Just as you're saying, I mean, they're obviously really nice cars, and
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like it's because Ali, a bunch of people reached out because I mentioned it, and Ali was one of them, and he has an allocation or had an allocation for the R1T and an R1S in the fall, and so I told Jamie at that point, I'm like, hey, like
if you want,
we
it.
have it. Like,
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
want? And she's like, no, like I really like this one. So I'm just not stoked on the being out of warranty situation. So I mean, eventually, I guess I'll probably get like a lightly used one, like
Yeah,
another
you should
CPO.
get out of the not being.
Yeah.
You should get out of that for
Because
sure.
I got a
scary.
CPO. This was a CPO
You were able
from
to weasel
Porsche,
your way into a CPO.
and and this is also like it's been maintained at the same dealership since new. So I imagine it's gonna go right back to them, and I'll see
Yeah.
what else they have. But yeah, I was really kind of bullish on that
Always
idea.
be CPO. I mean, you're saying people have driven forever with like Volvo station wagons with a dog, right? And a family. And that's the same thing as a car.
It's
I
impossible.
mean, my
to
family moved across the country with 2 kids who were
Yeah.
like 3 and 6 in an '87 Toyota Corolla.
I'm sure you're
Yeah.
super comfortable.
It was fine. We were kids.
Presented with the option, you have choices that provide more room. That's
Nothing,
all.
yeah, so she didn't like the XC90, which was she said it drove too big, and that would give us a little bit more room. She doesn't like BMW. She didn't want the X5, and the Rivian she likes aesthetically, but she really likes the Cayenne, and she wants to stick to that. So she just keeps asking, when's the electric version of the Cayenne coming? I have no idea.
I mean, it's definitely coming.
They have that shitty like plug-in hybrid that's like 30 miles. I mean,
Right,
I
right.
guess that's maybe okay for most. I don't know, because that was an option for us even now. Like when we got, or not now, but when we got that a few years ago, it was like I looked at them and the premium was like fucking 15 to 20 grand over.
They're also faster though. It's a power.
They are
thing, too,
faster,
so,
yeah. But I mean, we're going for efficiency, and I mean, it's not like.
Yeah, I mean it's all coming. But dude,
Feels like it's coming.
listen to the latest like Smoking Tire with that guy Kyle from Out of Spec Reviews. He's pretty good. He gives a good he talks about the sweet spot in EV ownership was 2 years ago essentially. Even though he's like a EV guy, but it's like the reality is it's like very tough if you are traveling and have to use
It is.
chargers.
Absolutely.
It's so good.
It lines up
And-
with the demographic who can afford expensive EVs.
Yeah.
Often do more long,
more
I mean,
long
road
we go to
trips.
Southern California,
Yeah,
like,
so basically you
regularly.
kind of don't want it for those cars anyways. So then you're looking, I don't know. So
Yeah.
it's like the EV option only works if it works if it fits your lifestyle. And I've noticed like my EV, my Polestar, fits my lifestyle for that car perfectly.
Perfect.
Because I go to work and it's mindless. Like I just plug it in. I park in a spot, I plug it in, and I get off work. I go to my car, I unplug, and I drive home. And in reality, it's like way easier than going to the gas station every 2 days and having to.
When's the last time you charged it outside of work?
Like when
I did it.
Yeah, Art did it.
But like you,
I
you
did it.
used it for like
I had to do it a month ago because I plugged it in using a Tesla charger with an adapter at work, and it didn't work when I got home from a trip, and so I had to charge it. But so I've probably charged outside of work like
one time,
5 times ever or something, and that was early on before we had chargers. Like
and that's basically that is just your appliance to get to work and back. That's all it is.
Exactly.
And that's what most people use most cars for.
Yes.
So
exactly.
And that's where this makes sense. But like if you're looking for a family SUV that you want to tow your dog, and like an R1S, for example, I could see that being like very frustrating very fast.
Yeah, dude. I showed. I don't know if I showed Warren a video or you showed me, but then we had a conversation about. I was coming back from LA, or maybe I think it was in LA, and Harris Ranch. They have that huge like Tesla supercharger set up there. Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because like as I'm coming up to Harris Ranch, I see like there's got to be like hundreds of cars off on the shoulder lined up, and as I got closer, they were all Teslas, and I'm like, what the hell? So like I'm not kidding, dude. Like 2 miles deep, maybe.
That is
and everybody is getting off to go to the chargers, and they're waiting to get for their turn. So they're sitting there for hours. Like,
and by the way, Tesla's the best,
and they're the
charging
fastest,
network
and they have the
on
exactly.
whatever. Like,
but we're talking about I-5.
There's another one. It was in Baker. Between Vegas and LA.
Yeah.
And the same thing. Lined up for a mile.
Yeah.
People waiting to charge.
Yeah. And they would, admittedly it was like holiday season, and this is like the most traffic, it's high. But
that's when you want
But you know what?
car.
You can always find gas, dude. You can
Totally,
always,
yeah.
This is like the maybe the people that wait in line at Costco for 3 hours to get gas will be fine with this, but
yeah.
But not only that, you're paying a premium to own the electric version of said sedan or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's not a luxury.
And then you're to basically realize the value of the charging for free or whatever. It takes years. I don't know, getting an efficient.
It's a weird place. I mean, I think it's definitely like a couple of years ago because they were more vacant, probably. But I mean, as the infrastructure develops, right?
Yeah, but
like
it hasn't really developed. It's just turned into a grid of chargers that don't work, essentially.
That is very true.
So it's like
I experienced that recently.
I think 2 years ago they actually all probably worked. Most of them worked. There was fewer, but there's
so many cars now.
It's just not great. There's so many electric cars on the road. Like
it's crazy.
Drive over the hill. It's like all you see.
But it's your scenario, right? Where it's like you go to work, everyone has a charging opportunity.
But not everyone has it like as convenient as you do. Where there's like 8 chargers and there might be 20 electric cars.
Yeah, exactly. Some people work at like Google or something where
Apple,
where it's like everyone there has one and there's only so many chargers.
Totally.
So it also works if you have it at home though. If you have like a 220 at home and you're only going and you're just, you're not doing.
But for your commute, you couldn't really get away with an e-Golf or similar, the 100-mile range cars, which are like the Volts and or Bolts.
Yeah, I could get away with it, but it would be like.
It'd be tight, right?
It'd be tight,
you'd be pretty tight.
You have to be really efficient all around. Dude, like I was even looking, like as I'm looking for a daily, like what's like a decent EV wagon type of thing. Have you guys seen that Mercedes that came out like 4 or 5 years ago? That B thing?
Yeah, it's Tesla.
Looks good. It's like a little wagon, it's got the Tesla motor, but it's like 150-mile range, dude. I'm like, that sucks.
That's like advertised, right? So it's like 90,
it's going to be way
and then
less.
you do like Highway 17 and it's
you only
60,
charge it to 90%, and then now it's degraded over the years. And
well, that's the thing is like I always think about coming here, right? That's the furthest I travel once a week, and like it's an ordeal. Like there would have to be a charger here for me to make it work. But it's like such a great little package, like, and it's got big area for like for a dog in the back, good for kids, all that shit, and it's like pretty utilitarian. It's kind of like almost like the the Sprinter van interior. They're super basic.
Yep, very utilitarian. Yeah. All right, last question here. This is more for a Clark type person. Oh, we have one here.
Specifically?
SV Expert says, what's a K car that will become popular here in the States soon because of the import laws? So I'm guessing 25-year rule.
25-year.
Oh, so one of my favorites
I
is
have
coming up soon. Yeah. So I imagine you have something very sporty. I have something.
Okay, I was gonna say if you say what I'm thinking, that would be insane.
So I'm saying the Honda Life Dunk.
Oh yeah, those are really
Wait, what
tall
is it?
little
Honda what?
wagon things.
Life Dunk.
Those are really weird looking.
So,
course it is.
so it's the Life,
But
and then the
Dunk
Dunk is the trim line of the Life.
I
And so
hate shit like that. That's so weird.
they're like early 2000s, I think. So it's a few more years before we can get them. But they're the first of the tall one box sort of that is now
really
every
funky
K
looking.
car.
So like Scion XB.
Exactly.
But,
But
more
half
narrow and
size.
taller.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, those are cool.
And they're right
Is
now.
that a modified one with a grill like that?
No, that's factory.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, they have
That's
they
sweet.
look
They all have the half.
they look
grill.
very stancy. Even
Yeah. That's cool.
And they're like $2,000
Look at that rear.
for like
See
a
what
nice
you're-
I'm
one.
down. Why do they all have to be right-hand drive? Gosh darn it.
because they're from Japan.
I know, but in Thailand, they're left-hand drive.
No, they're right-hand
Indonesia.
drive. In Thailand, they're right-hand drive as well.
No.
They are.
I found high aces that were left-hand drive over there.
Not in Thailand.
Well, they're probably
They're
used.
imported.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe imported back to Thailand. There was
Yeah.
a whole like importer that was getting Thai vans, which were left-hand drive, and importing them.
a lot of those are made not in Japan.
Like
they're made
in
by
Dubai or something.
or India or by
yeah.
partner in or Thailand.
Yeah.
I guess probably domestic.
Because the high ace is
So
still-
Life Dunk Turbo.
Life Dunk Turbo.
I like it.
So I'm going to show you a picture of this, Clark, and let's see.
We gotta
you should
remember this
definitely you
for-
should know what this is. If you don't know what this is, I'll be shocked.
Wow.
No, Daihatsu Copen.
Daihatsu Copen. It's like a little tiny Audi TT.
No, it's kind of like an EOS.
Yeah, they're very similar to a TT, but they're really small.
Yeah.
They're like the size of like a Beat or something.
Yeah.
And I thought that might be something just because they're kind of fun, like little weird sporty things.
I agree because they have a really distinctive look. They're very fun. They have that sort of charming
like Figaro
package.
style.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're not a sports car. They're like a drive around town car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like driving around town.
I mean, everybody. Yeah. I
Who doesn't
think
like
they're
driving around
great.
town?
Yeah,
Those
I
are
love it.
those are getting there. I think
Love it.
99. I was checking right now. I think 99 must have been the first year, right?
And they've been in production with a very similar look continuously.
Yeah, the new
So
ones
we're-
have a slightly different headlights.
We're
but,
very close.
But same silhouette, same sort of overall
Yeah.
proportions.
but yeah, see, they look like that.
Is that the new one?
This is slightly newer, but it's not the new one.
Yeah,
the new
yeah.
one has like totally different headlights.
And they have like 14 horsepower.
this is the first gen.
Yeah.
It's-
Well, they have 55. Yeah.
They're super funny looking.
60.
Yeah. Cool. I like that. So Clark, tell us about Japan. Give us a broad, view of your days there. Like, what do you talk to anybody? You don't speak Japanese, correct?
I speak Japanese very badly, but I'm improving.
And do you read Japanese?
No, not at all.
Which is one of the biggest problems as a
You can't
visitor.
read katakana either.
Well, no, I can't because I can't speak Japanese very well. So
windy. By the way, sorry if you
What
can,
is happening?
If you can hear this on the audio, I don't know if you can, but it's super windy here in Santa Cruz today in the whole Bay Area, and our metal door is like clanging around.
Good thing this building's made out of brick.
Building's not going anywhere, but the
Yeah,
door
dude.
is not happy.
Huff and puff and he'll blow.
Yeah.
yeah. So I've been there for about 9 months now.
Yeah.
And when I showed up, it'd been 2 years. It'd been the pandemic since I've been in Japan last, and I was very rusty on my mediocre Japanese. And so now 9 months in now, I can track conversations better. I have a hard time with recall, so I can't like speak it back to you.
Yeah.
But I can have an idea of like what daily life chit chat, where it's going. And I might not know most of the vocabulary, but I can track. And so I have a few like neighborhood spots that are my sort of favorite places. So the average day is I wake up on my bed on my tatami floor, and
Do you have
very
those
detailed.
wooden slippers?
I don't have any wooden
Some
slippers.
geta. That's funny.
How is your robe game?
I don't wear a robe,
You're just naked.
nude style.
Nude.
Yep.
Okay. All right. We're getting somewhere now.
Yeah. So I get up and I walk on my tatami floor and I open my shoji door and I go down to the
Do you have a Shiba Inu yet?
No, I have a cat that I imported from the United States.
Oh, nice. And does it go like this?
USDM.
Yes, USDM cat.
Like this once in a while.
That's called a maneki neko.
I don't want to hear that ever again.
called-
Go on.
I have Jennifer, my wife, got me into these traditional coffee shops called Kiseten, which are these
like the really artisanal pour overs.
No, it's actually kind of lowbrow.
Something is cafe. It's like where the Oyaji hang out. It's like where the people just hang out.
Oh, it's more like cigarette smoking.
Exactly.
And stuff. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And so a lot of
like
them
white
were
trash, basically. Version.
I was gonna say something.
Yeah. A lot of them were built in like the late 60s, early 70s, and are run by the same people in an unrestored fashion. They've been like smoking the whole time. And
Yeah.
it's like Deep City Energy. And so there's one in our neighborhood.
City Energy. That's a good album title.
That's a great album cover.
It's what I seek always.
Deep City Energy.
And so there's one in our neighborhood which is like a jazz theme, and these two guys who run it, and they recognize me and I recognize them, and like we don't really speak to each other,
so
but
you're
like
saying you stand out.
Yeah, a little bit.
Wearing Hawaiian shirts every day?
Yeah.
Bearded white guy.
With a Hawaiian shirt on.
So actually, I don't wear the Hawaiian shirts as much in Japan. I wear like dark blue or
robes.
or black shirts.
Like a samurai robe?
No.
Like
kimono?
He doesn't wear robes. We already talked about that.
I actually
sumo diaper? No. I don't know. I'm just reaching out.
No, I actually shifted my wardrobe because normally I wear Hawaiian shirts in the United States.
It's too garish.
I wear them on the weekend. No, I'm serious. I wear them on the weekend, or I wear them in the evening, and during the day.
Too outlandish.
Yeah,
too outlandish for local folk.
For the kisaten, for the cafe.
I don't want to be. I'm already a crazy foreigner guy. I don't want to be that crazy.
You don't be that crazy.
I mean, you're already crazy.
But you're a designer. You're.
So I wear nice. Like I got some really nice black like shirts and some navy blue shirts. Like I don't look like a bum.
Like t-shirts or like button up.
T-shirt. So I have a few. I have t-shirt like long sleeve t-shirts with like the little collar.
Really
And are you wearing the bandana like in?
No, I'm not a chef.
Karate Kid too, but let's not.
So do you shop at United Arrows?
I do not because my shape is a little bit too round for that.
Yeah, that's one
Sizing
of my favorite
is tough
stores.
there, right?
Yeah, I am.
You're like a triple XL.
Double 2X.
2X.
Well, it's not always. It's either like in t-shirts and stuff. I'm XL.
Yeah.
But if it's like a slim fit thing,
I
then
couldn't find anything.
well, I guess a double is XL. I guess because it's LL.
Double XL or
No, it's double L. It's XL.
It's just XL.
Yeah.
Double large.
Double large.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Well, so and then there's LX in some things, which is
like that.
large,
That's more of a car trim.
wide,
Luxury edition.
which is great. Which I actually like because I have short arms, and so I like a wider cut.
Oh, you don't have short arms. You're doing great.
Anyway,
They're beautiful.
Yeah.
I love your arms.
they're like 3/4 inches shorter than than my height should have.
Oh,
My
your
wingspan is a little bit short.
I see.
Okay. So
He's like a T-Rex.
yes, Jennifer calls me T-Rex.
Wow. All right.
I get T-Rex themed birthday cards from her. It's a.
We're really
So
getting
if
to
you
it.
don't mind, what are you up to out there? Like, I mean, obviously you have the Roundcat Racing. You get into you nerd out on the K cars. We
Yep.
all know that.
Highball.
So-
And you do a lot of sourcing of parts and stuff that are tailored for those vehicles. But is that what you're up to out there? Like, are you seeking that out or?
Yeah. So for the viewers at home, I earn money by doing design consulting, and I spend money on K cars. So Roundcat Racing is my motorsports program, and is not it's not really a source of revenue for me. It's an
Break-even
expense.
Passion project.
Yes. It is a passion project, and so I do a little bit of actual design consulting in Japan. Right before the pandemic, I designed a research laboratory for Osaka University, a pretty large building, and that got built during the pandemic, and it opened this spring. I've done some strategy work for some large Japanese companies about future city development stuff. I've done some flying car design.
Ooh,
And,
car design. Do you work with Dentsu at all?
I try to stay away from the big agencies because they just suck all of the profit out. And so for people who don't understand working in Japan, Dentsu and Hakodo are the two large marketing agencies in Japan, and all big companies flow design through them. And so they don't actually do anything besides add a layer of cost.
But if you want to, it's like they give you access, right?
Their
That's kind of
access,
like
yeah.
They give you, yeah.
So I try to work with early stage startups who don't want to work with a big agency, or I work with people like the donor of the building to Osaka University, or people who directly want to engage with design.
Do you have a Japanese liaison to, like, I don't know, foster these relationships? Because it's so hard to break in to Japanese business culture, right? Like,
yeah, I have a few friends who are well connected. I have a business partner who's Japanese. He's for the Roundcat stuff.
Yeah.
And he's
got connections, I imagine.
he's got a great connections in the car world, and he's been really, really amazing. He's made the entire thing possible. I wouldn't have been able to do it without him.
Yeah.
So thank you, Kozaburo.
Okay, that was my question because that's that
And then I
helps.
have a very good friend who's Lithuanian actually, but lives in Tokyo and speaks Japanese, and he's sort of my project manager for consulting projects.
Cool.
And then I don't know, last time Clark was on, I was gone, but did you guys talk about K-Car Rally?
Yeah, so
And you went to the races,
the 24-hour K-Car race.
24-hour K-Car race too.
So, this summer, I think, this last spring, I held the first Roundcat Rally in Japan and invited a handful of people from the Bay Area and some of my Japanese friends to do 3 days of adventure across Japan. And we did 1 day of driving through the Boso Peninsula of Chiba. We took the train. We took the train down to Hamamatsu and did some car tourism in Hamamatsu. We visited Cozy Lights, the Honda Beat tuning shop.
So cool.
Dude, I'm just laughing because like in Japan, it's just a group of people driving. You know, like it's not like the cars are like, you know, because here, like
Exactly.
when we go out in the middle of nowhere, we have all these weird cars, right? Like on our rallies, and they stand out, right? They're older cars, they're kind of enthusiast vehicles. But in Japan, it's just like a group of K cars is just a group of cars, you know?
Yeah.
It looks totally normal.
It's like
But-
taking out like Priuses.
Exactly. But for people that come out for it, like that's a totally novel experience, right? Like to drive those in those roads and all that.
Yeah, so a few of our friends from California came, and one of them grew up in Japan, but had never driven in Japan because he left Japan before he was of driving age. And then as an adult tourist, he'd always taken the train. And so he, freaked out because it was this new experience. He was super intimate with Japan, but it's like a new way of experiencing Japan for him.
Definitely. That's so cool.
And so we did this rally, and it was so much fun because it was sort of like the simplest, most elemental thing. We rented cars on the third day and went up the Hakone Turnpike in like Nissan and Honda one boxes. And we're like full throttle the whole time and going slowly, and it was pouring rain, and it was like sense of occasion was very high.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're with a group of friends, which is super rad. I mean, yeah, and the Hakone Turnpike is like notorious. It's like one of the main like driving destinations. It's like the Angeles Crest Highway or something like that, but it is a paid toll road, and it's all like amazing roads with like epic views and shit like that.
And we went before tourism was allowed back in. Everybody came in on business visas. We sponsored everybody, and we had the road to ourselves. It was also pouring rain.
So rad.
but-
The pouring rain.
which helped. But there was us, and then like one BRZ and some guy in this big minivan.
Yeah.
Did you have hotel like onsens you stayed at and all that, or were you just kind of like going as you went along?
Well, I had a plan that was supposed to be 3 days of actual driving,
Yeah.
but then the week before a typhoon hit and washed the route that I was going to take off the face of the mountain.
Oh wow.
All through Shizuoka. It got hit really badly. And so we did a last minute change. So that's why we did train down to Hamamatsu.
Got it.
So we stayed in normal hotels.
It's, I mean, this is a related thing, but I have a few people who are reaching out, like asking about the rally, and it's like, we really, really have to pre-run this time around, and we have like zero time, and because a lot of the roads that we drive on have been washed out, because of or damaged, heavily and shit. So it's like, it's a serious concern. Like literally requires a lot more pre-running than we had. I mean, we've done a lot of routes in the past, and it's like, okay, we know what we're expecting, but like, now we got
everything's covered.
Yeah. So for this one, once the route was washed off, I was like, all right, we're gonna go to Chiba. I know Chiba really well. I've driven there a lot, and so it was just all familiar roads for me. And it was sort of easy mode for the rally.
Are you familiar with Sodegaro Raceway, which is out there in Chiba?
Yeah, it's one of the handful of smaller
It's the smaller
circuits.
one. So that's where we were going to hold the Radwood in Japan. Unfortunately, it fell through, but that was the neck of the woods that we're going to be in that area. Yeah.
So what's up with you went to Scuba, I think, or where was the?
That was actually at Fuji Speedway.
Fuji.
So it was the real full size track.
Gigantic for those cars.
And there was maybe 50 or 60 cars on the track.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't know though because the track is so big.
And,
Yeah.
Okay, so aren't they? This is a K car 24-hour race.
It wasn't a 24 hour. It was an endurance race, but I
Okay.
think it was 10 hours.
10 hours over 2 days, or
No,
over?
there's like a warm up session, and then there was like the actual 10 hour.
And then a
think.
lot of the cars were like 962 looking K
it was
cars and stuff,
those.
right?
Well, yeah. So it was. There were a handful of those,
Okay.
but
Those are the coolest freaking thing.
most of them were late 80s, early 90s Hondas,
Yeah.
and a handful of Mazdas, a handful of everything. A lot of basically the lightest 660cc car you can find.
Yeah.
And fully prepped, like no interiors and proper cages and
proper
like
cages,
proper little race cars.
Yeah.
And then there's a handful of those like really
Those are the most
like half scale
for the listeners or viewers. Look up
K4 GP.
K4 GP. It's basically like Le Mans looking prototype cars or, race cars that are on a shrunken scale yet still raced.
It's basically the you slice the top of a K car off and put a fiberglass body on it.
Yes. It's so rad.
Yeah.
Really, really
I mean, yeah,
cool.
we've talked about like the dream for the attainable dream is to do the
F40.
Yeah, the
AutoZam.
F40 on the AutoZam. Yeah, on the
yeah.
F40 AutoZam body kit. Those are so rad.
Awesome.
And the proportions are pretty good. They actually look good.
It's very micro machine.
It
It's like a
is.
little off, but it's off enough
it's
to
like-
be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not the real, so it works, right? It's
Yeah.
like
And
it is cartoony.
one of the amazing things about this race was that it was competitive. There was a lot of passing. There was a lot of action. So they were moving really slowly around the course, but they were moving around, and that you could.
That's fun.
There was definite engagement.
That's really fun. Yeah.
Dude, it's just comical to do it on Fuji though, because it's such a wide open, huge circuit. So
Yeah.
like on a tighter circuit, I feel like it would make more sense. But like that long straight,
They get the top speed immediately.
Yeah.
yeah, and they're just sitting there.
I mean, the one make of the Honda N1 is a little bit. It's on the same circuit, same size, and those are modern K cars, and they're more or less stock, and it's a little less dynamic because it's all the same car.
Yeah.
That's it. Like you'll just be behind. It's like traffic moving
Yeah, they try
through.
to,
Yeah.
try to like air, slipstream or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need more tight sections for sure.
But one of the things that's really cool about Japan is within a 2-hour drive of Tokyo, there's, 8 or 10 like small scale circuits
That's cool.
that are K size
Oh, rad.
That's very cool.
that do grassroots stuff, and like kind of in the middle of nowhere, you're like, oh, there's another one.
So on your next K car rally, are you gonna rent out one of those little tracks and do a track day?
Well, so I don't have that actually
Your rental
scheduled. So the next K car rally is in April actually, and we're doing Tokyo to Kanazawa in 5 days. So we're going Tokyo to Nikko, Nikko to the middle of nowhere, where there's some of the last unpaved roads in Japan. Because
Nice.
Japan's been on this infrastructure binge, like since post-war era, and so there's only a handful of unpaved road sections. And so Rich, our friend, found a map of all of them, and so we're using those as sort of the center point of the rally. We're going to go through Nagano. We're going to go up over the highest point of public roads in Japan.
Whoa.
We're going to go down through.
What is that, by the way? Do you know how high?
I actually don't.
Oh, okay. I wonder if it's like equal to the Sierras or is it higher? You're talking about like
Yeah.
6,000 feet, 8,000 feet.
Something like that, I
Yeah.
think.
That's
There'll
really
be
cool.
in April. There'll be snowpack up there.
Yeah.
And then down through some of the like the heritage, with the thatch roofs and those towns, and then to Kanazawa,
Rad.
and then we're going to take the Shinkansen back.
And then what? So okay, is there rentals so you can drop them off at the end somewhere?
So we're going to take a couple of rentals. We're going to rent the N box, which is the best selling K car of in Japan for the past 4 or 5 years.
Who makes that?
Honda.
Okay.
And so it's going to be the sort of like the
Support
everyman
vehicle,
car.
or what is that?
It'll be sort of the normal car to bookend the experience. And then we'll take a few of my trucks. We're going to take a Jimny or two. and then we're going to take a couple of N1. We're collaborating with Spoon Sports.
Oh, no way.
I'm this is sort of a nice timing. I needed a 4-door car. All of my cars and all of these cylinders I have, only 2-door cars, 2-seat cars. And now we've had a bunch of friends visiting Japan, and I keep renting cars to do day trips and whatnot. So I need a 4-door car. So I'm getting the N1 RS.
Oh, so you're getting that one like you
I posted about
picture
Instagram.
Of a yellow one?
So not
that's the Spoon car, right? That's
their demo car.
Yeah, gotcha.
I'm getting that same car in white with the manual transmission, and I'm collaborating with Spoon to do all of their modifications for it.
Rad.
And then a few other things that they don't do that I'll do independently. And so we're going to take that. The tentative plan is to take their demo car as well and have a pair of
awesome.
The hot hatch, like the pinnacle of K, like street cars.
Performance, yeah.
Yeah. And then the trucks and then the rental cars to sort of have this like bookended experience.
So rad.
That's cool. That'll be fun.
And this trip we're doing Rokon. We're staying at the one that inspired the architecture in Spirited Away.
Oh wow.
Which is like a 40 generation
yeah, those
place.
I mean, if you look up the oldest businesses in the world, I think they're ryokan. They're from like the 1200s or something, that are still in business.
Yeah.
And they're all Japanese. Like there's like I remember looking this up years ago, but like the top 5 oldest businesses in the world are those. Yeah, that's rad though. Yeah, that. But yeah, I mean, I love this performance K car concept though. I mean, like speaking of like, as Lane's saying, like having that performance driving element and actually being able to eventually, if you can incorporate a little track thing, like that would be so cool. And yeah, I mean, it's like, it's so fun because like it's the epitome of slow car fast, right? It's like,
it really is. Yeah. It like removes the ego of the car. It removes the sense of occasion becomes like you immersing yourself in the rural experience rather than you immersing yourself in the car itself.
Right.
Immersing yourself in leg cramps.
In leg cramps, yeah. So I mean,
they've got to be better than the trucks.
The new Honda has and the only K cars they're doing now is the N platform, and they have 4 cars on the N platform.
Okay,
they're all scaled to fit a 98th percentile American male. So you guys all fit.
Yeah. And so you're saying that's only for Honda, but other manufacturers are making other things.
I assume so.
You don't dabble.
Honda World.
I can't be bothered.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Honda is still making the best K cars.
Toyota doesn't dabble. Suzuki.
Toyota does. It's Daihatsu. So Daihatsu is Toyota's.
Oh, that's
K.
Toyota's.
Yeah,
okay.
And they make really amazing. Like it's a more price point conscious car, and so they're really robust. They're affordable. They're if you're living the actual rural lifestyle, they're probably the car to choose.
But not as like cool stylistically
Not as cool.
and attention to detail.
Not as much. The engineering that Honda is putting into the K cars is above and beyond. So the A pillars are thinner. The N1 has aluminum hubs. Like a bunch of stuff that's not really necessary for a Econo box, but they're doing anyway because they're stoked about making something nice.
Right.
That's rad. Wow. Yeah, Warren and I went on, a K car rally with you here.
Number 1, yeah.
Number 1.
Oh, gee.
And everything you say is so true. It's like, I think we probably hit a max speed of 55, and that was on Highway 17.
Yeah.
But on the
an alarm going
with an
off
alarm for in your case, not in mine.
Yeah.
And then with an alarm clock, alarm going off every time you hit 55, and continuing.
Yeah.
The whole time. Yeah. So you never wanted to go above that speed. And then on the actual like driving, the real driving section, we probably never went faster than like 40.
Yeah, probably.
Felt as fast as anything.
And I mean, you've never giggled so much and had so much fun in your life going 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was wild.
And so, I mean, I've driven a bunch of modern, fairly exotic cars on the mountains around Santa Cruz, and you can really only go, 30% power without getting dangerous?
Yeah. I mean, it depends. Like my E30, I'm probably
but that's not a modern.
Not a modern.
That's
right.
still, I'd still put that in vintage category.
Yeah.
Like that's a modern,
once you get into the modern stuff, and gearing plays a part. I mean, they're just so capable.
Yeah. And so I love that with these K cars, we can wring them out on these narrow little roads in Japan and still be in a sort of societally acceptable pace.
Yeah.
So what about renting like more performance oriented options. Like you were talking about one box, like basically utilitarian.
Well, when you were gone, he talked about his spoon,
sorry.
his spoon Honda that he's building, and
yeah, but can you rent those? Like the Daihatsu, what's it called?
You can
the Copen?
you can
Yeah,
rent.
Copen.
You can basically rent stock everything.
Yeah, you could rent like a Copen or like a Beat equivalent today. Like, do they have?
Yeah,
that?
you can rent an S660.
S660. Yeah,
which those are so rad looking.
Yeah. So far, nobody's asked to take one. Everybody's stoked about taking the one boxes, which is kind of funny.
Hot hatch.
Dude, the
Yeah.
S660 is an amazing little car.
Yeah, it's like a scaled down NSX. Yeah,
Yeah. They're a little difficult. Like somebody
They're
our
really
size
small.
would have a hard time fitting. They have their roll bar is very low.
I see. Yeah.
And so this rally is about trying to hit these dirt road sections and these forest road sections. So next one, hopefully in the fall, we'll do a circuit day and go to one of these like little neighborhood circuits and have it to ourselves.
And so when you go on this, you have some people coming from over here, obviously. But do you have like is your business partner coming with you that speaks fluent Japanese and like has the angles? I mean, I know Rich speaks Japanese, but
Yeah, a handful of people speak Japanese.
Okay.
I think that.
I think you get into some weird situations where you all of a sudden, I don't know. It's a tough language. That's all.
I bumble around just fine.
Nice.
We're pre-booked. All the hotels are pre-booked.
Yeah,
all of the things that actually matter
Right.
are pre-booked, and so we could do it with no Japanese,
Yeah.
but we will have people with us that
Got it.
speak Japanese.
Got it. I think that's great. I hope to join you if there's a room on your rallies.
This fall, hopefully you can make it.
April, maybe. Who knows?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool.
You have to commit soon though, because we have to make
I'm
the
sure.
booking.
Well, I didn't know about it until right now, so I'm learning.
This is your scoop for the
What are the dates?
the 16th through the 21st. So we're doing 4 days of driving with a day of transit on each side.
Got it. What do you think, Art? Squeeze it in before
Let's do it.
Austin?
I'm in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had some trivia that I
Ooh,
needed
I
to
like it.
kind of
Oh, you have trivia?
stage. Well, I mean, it's
I love
bonus trivia as usual. Mine's bonus.
I like bonus.
It's something that we discussed, and he reminded me of it right now because he threw out vintage category. E30 was in the vintage category.
Oh, yes.
And I don't know, about a month ago or a few episodes ago, we were trying to define antique versus vintage versus classic.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
You got the answer?
Well, yeah, I mean,
We'll
it's,
get there.
It's,
We'll
it's
get there.
trivia.
Okay.
We should probably get into that soon
Yeah.
anyhow. Well, anything else you want to share? I know you went to the Tokyo Auto Salon.
Yeah, and I think that
Oh, right, yeah.
so I have two Tokyo Auto Salon takeaways.
Okay.
One is overlanding is coming to Japan, and overlanding is the hot thing. So there's a whole overlanding section, camping section.
But is there use cases for it in Japan? I mean, I know there's like obviously country like hot springs type activities, campgrounds, maybe.
There are tons and tons of really, really nice car camping campgrounds.
Okay.
There's no overland terrain.
Right. You can't get too loose out there.
No.
Right?
Yeah, there's like, what is that one place in the Southwest? It's like, it's kind of like Pismo where you have the crazy sand dunes.
But it's not even crazy. It's there's a section of public road that is on the beach.
Yeah.
But it's polite. It's not like Pismo.
It's not, yeah, well, definitely not like dudes in like Polaris's like jumping off. the
No,
ship.
it's
Yeah,
like
but-
it's like a I don't know, like a 10 or 15 kilometer section of
right.
like flat sand.
Got it. Okay. And then there's no like big national parks with dirt roads that you can get totally lost on.
There are off-road parks where you can go off-roading on
they-
trails,
like Hollister kind
Oh,
of.
like Hollister.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't really camp there. It would be sort of like a day activity.
Yeah, that's not overlanding. That's,
No.
But I mean, here there's definite use cases for it, but a strong majority of these people don't use them for
Agreed,
those
yeah.
activities, right? It's like the
well,
mall.
most of these overlander people just go to camping
Exactly.
sites.
Yeah, so it's no
And
They
different.
it's
have a
just a
tent
way
on their
to-
car
yeah.
all the time, and they use it 3 times a year. Or whatever.
Yeah.
And the campsites in Japan, many of are really amazing, beautiful sites.
sure.
And so, you don't have to drive far
cool.
off road to get to it, but you're in a really beautiful part of the.
And so you have basically positioned yourself in a very interesting way to be the K truck car camping master.
Well,
You've got rooftop tents on your racks, and
It is convenient, but there's a whole K-Camp, K-Truck conversion scene that is very mature.
Right, like this Blow Dream Factory.
Dream Factory Blow.
They're making like those Dodge D100, or what are the D100s? Basically those cool like Mystery Machine vans from the 60s, but they're doing these conversions on these modern K-Trucks or K-Vans. And it looks so cool.
They do like everything from a yellow school bus to the Ford vans to.
I've seen like the Chevy vans too, right?
Yeah, I think we've talked about them on here before because we had the school bus. I remember the school bus.
And we visited their shop a couple weeks ago, and I was blown away by the quality. Like it's some of the best fiberglass work I've seen.
Huh. Yeah, they have like C10 Chevy looking trucks and
But can you fit in these things? Like actually lay down?
Yeah, it's
He's
so
like,
sick. Like a 80s Ford.
like early 80s
Ford Econoline.
Econoline on a K-Truck, and they have like,
Dude, they got it, the bullnose front end and everything.
the sculpting of the body is they did such a fantastic job with getting the proportions to work.
little C10 based things.
So rad.
So the C10 base thing starts its life as a one box, and they chop off the back and turn into a pickup truck.
Dodge.
Oh yeah, that's like the cab forward thing.
Yeah.
And
They call it the Papa Rider.
Papa Roach.
And this is actually on a high ace. So that's a full size, or minivan size thing.
Minivan size, full size looking van. Yeah.
Right. It looks like a full size. It's based on a minivan, but it's not a K truck. That's awesome. Make it left hand drive, please.
And the entire shop was cool. They had hand painted signs everywhere. Everybody's wearing a little jumpsuit. It was like the aesthetic was dialed.
Wow.
So I mean that was one big takeaway from the auto salon. The other takeaway is the impact of the super silhouette racing from 79 to 84 is long lasting. And so everything, all of the body kit stuff, all of the sort of aesthetic tuning is flowing out of super silhouette.
Interesting. Yeah. Was that your first time to the auto salon?
I had been prior to the pandemic. It's second time, I think.
Did you run into other people like that we know here? Because it seemed like everyone was there.
Yeah, well,
our friend Glenn was there. Eric Campano was there. I don't know if you ran into them.
I don't know either of them personally, but I went to a series of parties and like events that were held that everybody went to from all the Californians, and it was like
they were in the underground parking garages and stuff. And
it was 90% people from LA, and then the Japanese folks with their cars, and it was like theater for the American car folks.
Was it fun though?
It was fun. It was super fun.
Really fun.
RWB had a really, really cool party. I think they did the first of the week, and they held it in a shrine complex, like in Chiba near their factory. And they put in, I don't know, 10 or 12 cars like into the grounds of the site. And it had a lot of sense of occasion and a bunch of Los Angeles YouTubers.
Mm-hmm. I saw the F40 where they like cut the fender off on stage. It was really sad.
The white one?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see the actual doing of it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's
Why'd they do that?
They put a wide
they
body.
put a wide body.
Yeah, it's the white one that was all over the place.
Yeah.
I was not a fan.
And the whole presentation was very like in your face. It was supposed to be, and it was just like.
I mean, it was interesting to see for the first time ever because like the whole Rocket Bunny stuff like has a tremendous following, right?
Yeah.
Like globally, everywhere. But Larry Chen posted that car, and I'd say like 70% of the comments were negative. They're like, and I was like, and that's like his audience, which is a lot of these people are into that stuff, and it was like it's unnecessary. For me, it was like the worst part. It just felt so unbalanced. Like it was just because you had the rear, they widened the rear so
How do you
much.
fuck with an F40,
And then-
dude.
Yeah, and then the front was just kept the same.
Oh,
So
they
like,
widened the front too. They
But-
did new clamshell.
but okay, yeah, it's not noticeable. Like
No.
it's just that's like the design, the way it was integrated. It wasn't really like it felt heavy, rear heavy. Like it felt unbalanced. And I know it's avant-garde and it's like supposed to be like against the grain or whatever, but rough world, right? Rowell.
Well, so they didn't do that. That was done by a different shop.
Yeah, it was.
It was a Rocket Bunny.
It was
right?
Rocket Bunny. Yeah.
It was.
Isn't it Rocket
No,
Bunny?
it wasn't Rocket Bunny. It was,
no, it was the other.
it was Liberty Walk.
Liberty Walk.
Oh, Liberty Walk. That's right. It was Liberty Walk. Yeah.
And so while I wouldn't do that, but to take a positive look at it, what I like about it is it represents how irreverent the Japanese car modification world is. And it's not about the obsession of having the original, like the factory original thing. It's about creating a car that matches your personal taste and your personal style. And I think that kind of energy, that kind of approach is something I would like to see more internationally.
That is very Japanese. Like, I mean, that's why they're renowned for like the diversity in the car world, right? Like, because it's like nothing is sacred, really, almost, right? But at the same time, you do have the ultra purists like anywhere else. But for the most part, the overarching theme is like just go nuts, and make it exactly what you want it to be. And I can see,
but it's not exactly what you want it to be. It's what all of them do is they put slapped on flares.
Yeah, they did.
I
Like, I
see,
don't know
you
what
can't
else
say
they did.
it's like personal when it's like one person's design, but everyone's just doing the same exact thing, buying the same kits.
I guess you could look at it like that, and I don't disagree. I went to the supercar meetup in December, and there were a lot of newish Lamborghinis and Ferraris that had a bunch of what Americans would consider distasteful modifications, and I loved it because it was so unusual and so funky that it, like, if you go and look at modern, I don't find looking at modern cars very interesting because they're all the same. They're all very fresh. It's like they came off the showroom. Nobody puts any miles on them. So it's really exciting to see, like, this person decided to put rhinestones all over like the inside of the headlights. And I'm like, that's crazy. Like,
It is a lot of that's crazy.
I probably wouldn't do it, but I'm really glad you did.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I get that.
I mean, it's very like 50s America or Americana, right? It's like the modification scene in that time when it was just like buy all the shit,
Yeah.
put it on, or it's like the Harley scene
Tchotchkes,
or whatever.
yeah.
Like, yeah,
Harley
tchotchkes
scene's a
everywhere.
good analogy.
Yeah, I don't know if it's not to my taste, but you know what I do like is those motorcycles with the freaking long bars and like the fairings 10 feet in the air, and then have you seen the one with like two fairings and they're like 15 feet in the air, and then it has like the spoiler on the back,
And they
so sick,
and
they're all upright, and
They have like this
and they
revving
rev
thing.
them.
the
All they
revving.
do is
They'll play the
redline
song by revving, and they each will like compose their own revving
Yeah,
songs.
those guys are rad. The crew, the dudes,
Yeah.
and they're wearing little tight t-shirts and stuff.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's the same thing
they're,
with like the Bozuzuku stuff.
that's
and
them,
the,
yeah.
That's what this
Yeah.
is.
and the work trucks that are like crazy ornate.
Yeah,
the
Decatora.
the big Decatora. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the same thing, right? Like
The
so
Decatora
unnecessary.
meet I went to in Ibaraki a year before the pandemic, right before the pandemic hit, was perhaps the best show I've ever been to because there were hundreds of these trucks and they were enormous and they were decorated.
I'm super down with that.
Yeah,
I think
me
that's
too.
amazing. Yeah, like it's just as you said, it's like it's really intriguing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like it's over the top, it's crazy, and it's the same. It's like the Japanese version of what you see like in South America, right? Like it's
Or
just
India, yeah.
or India, right? Or in the Philippines where they have
Or
this like
it's kind of the Japanese version of like lowrider community too.
Yeah.
but the lowrider community is also massive in Japan, which is a whole other
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, a whole
They
different
take
story.
the inspiration from
Yep.
California.
Yeah, for sure.
lowrider culture,
Yeah, the
you know.
biggest lowrider car club in the world is there in Japan, and they've and
Talking about stealing
it gets so gnarly.
cultural
though.
Have you
appropriation.
seen those guys that are like full
All
cholo?
in, yeah, they're
Cholo
all in.
style?
It's they go all in. Yeah, it's the full lifestyle.
They're like the
with
robot Johnny Five, dude.
Johnny with the rainbow.
Yeah.
Or it's like a like a Trustafarian. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting though. Yeah, and I think I'm trying to think like what Lane is saying. Yeah, like it's like that version of that, but like I don't think anybody else is going to be doing that to their F40. It's almost like, how do I make the biggest splash for this concept, right? And this
Yeah,
brand?
but on the
And it's
F40, it's just like being like, no one else can do this. I'm going to fuck this car up, and I'm
But
going
I
to make
think
a
they
splash
really dig it.
by
They-
doing that.
I think they like it though, because it's sort of like if the more you look at the car and you look at the details, it's very like
I
anime.
mean, yeah, they like doing
it's
it on all the
over-
cars, but how are they gonna? They already did the FC RX-7. They already did that. How are they gonna bring it? How is this gonna get the biggest splash throughout?
Yeah.
Like they know what they're doing
And,
by picking the F40 and like.
and it was a bit cheap because of that. You know, it's like the cheap trick, like, oh, we chose this expensive car
exactly.
and we stuck this
And
thing on
if they
it.
would have taken something that had like like I think the more creative way to do that is taking the thing that has like almost zero style and turning it into this stylish thing with flared or the most mundane car, right? It's like taking an F40. It's just a big splash, but I don't know. It just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, it definitely. I agree 100%. It's like exactly what I wouldn't want to do to the car. Yeah, like I mean, especially because of what the car is.
Save that for other
and what you want to use the car for. But like if it's like it's all flash, like it's like just driving around town, super slammed.
But on the sort of the opposite side, seeing the Toyota's booth with the rally stuff, they had various flavors of the Yaris, the GR. They had the actual rally car. They had the GR like spec racer car, and then they had like the plain GR you could buy. And to see the pure function of the rally car, but also sort of the anime, the sort of mech, sort of inspired bodywork. It was really cool to see as a set from street car to race car and like the various like sub race cars in between. Like that was really exciting, and I feel like Liberty Walk got close to that idea, but then didn't actually pull it off with the F40.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. I feel like we've learned something today.
I think so. Are we going to learn more?
Possibly.
More?
Maybe
How
some
about
trivia?
we start off with a little bonus trivia, even
Yeah.
maybe. You know,
Oh,
a little something.
what?
Warm everyone up. You know,
Do it.
get
I'll get
people
mine-
going.
I'll get mine poised
So
when
we
you
were
do that.
we were struggling to define vintage, antique, and classic car recently. We threw out some numbers. There are some official numbers out there that are agreed on by the America's Automotive Trust and Haggerty, the American Collector Community. There's all these different organizations. So they have ranges, which is interesting, for a vintage car. So manufactured between X and X dates.
Is vintage?
So
Shouldn't it be a rolling?
Considered
I was going to
vintage.
say classic is a car that is your age. Vintage is a car that's your parents' age. And
Antique is
your grandparents' age, and it's
Yeah,
rolling.
I like that. yeah.
That's yeah.
So that's I agree with the logic, but I was really
I'm gonna
surprised
say
by this.
antique
That's why I
is-
wanted to share this.
Okay. Vintage is 25 years and older, and
I'd say it's like
antique is
15.
50.
So all right,
I'd
That would
say
be my guess.
okay. I'd say vintage is 15 and antique is 25.
Okay.
Oh, wait, but we have three, right? We have vintage.
yeah. So we'll start with vintage, and it's a date range. It's manufactured between 19X and 19X. And,
I mean,
and,
this is so.
and this is and you know what's even gnarlier? And this, I mean, I'll just throw it out there because it's really weird. Either a survivor or original restored in conformance to the original manufacturer specification is the definition for a vintage car. And it on top of the fact that it has to be within a specific date range, which is
So
really weird.
If it's modified, it's not vintage.
See,
apparently
this
not.
doesn't
I get
make
that,
sense to me though, because
Yeah.
vintage is just a word and it's used for antiques. It's used for
But no, there is a definition.
Yeah,
though.
but that being said, antique and classic are more traditional, like kind of like
Right.
before a certain time. And that,
I'm with
but
you though, Lane. Like
vintage
vintage
is
just
weird.
seems like anything older.
I mean, vintage clothing. There's
Could be 10
vintage
years
whatever,
old.
dude. It's like
Yeah.
a vintage Nirvana shirt means it's an original shirt from 1994. Or
but
whatever,
it could also
right?
be the first time they reproduced it in 2005, and that's still vintage.
It's still vintage.
I
yeah.
think vintage. I mean, in it also implies that there is a date associated with it.
Yes.
It isn't that it's a range. Like this is a vintage thing that has a moment in time.
Yes.
All right.
So I don't know, dude. I'm guessing antique. Obviously, antique's the oldest. It's probably going to be. I would say it ends in probably like 20 or something, like right around Model T. So free A. So maybe 20, whatever that is, 27 or something.
So that's vintage.
Would be,
You're saying?
would be pre 27 would be antique. I would say something like that. And then I would say, I don't know. And then what's the other?
So it's vintage, antique, classic.
Oh, and then classic is probably 19, like Model A maybe. So like 29 through.
So I'll give you guys a hint real
50
quick. So antique and classic don't have a range. It's before a certain time.
okay.
But vintage has a range for some reason, which is insane. It's confusing.
Vintage has a range?
Vintage has a range. Antique is prior to a certain, it's X amount of years and older. Classic is X amount of years and older.
Oh, okay. Okay, so antique's probably 100 years and older.
Antique's probably 30 years and older, and classic's probably 20 years and older.
Antique's the oldest.
Antique's 30 years.
Antique's 25.
Antique's 100. Classic is...
But like you can have an antique coffee table and it's from like the 40s, right? Does that make sense?
Well, so I think there's several
you're calling
definitions.
things antiques if you're calling that an antique.
I don't know.
Because at the auction house that I used to go to
You would
as a high
never
school
call
student,
mid-century modern stuff an antique.
Exactly.
You would never call that an antique.
So Lane's, I think, using the classical definition of antiques, which I don't think is what they're talking about with cars, but I agree with you, Lane.
Because in furniture, it would be like antiques would be like
Pre-war.
1800s.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or earlier,
Pre-World War I.
1400s. Yeah,
to
whatever.
like wherever.
Yeah.
You guys ready for some answers?
Yes.
Yeah, just give us answers.
Vintage car manufactured between 1919 and 1930.
Okay, you're right.
Vintage.
No, that's vintage.
Vintage.
I was saying,
That's the opposite.
Vintage.
Sorry.
Antique car manufactured 45 years, or it's here in this case, they're using 1975 or earlier, but it's technically antique cars are 45 years old and older.
So it's a rolling. Okay.
Classic car, which is gnarly, 20 years and older.
Yeah. 2003.
Wait, dude.
Isn't that crazy?
The vintage thing throws me off.
The vintage
dude,
thing is
because
insane.
vintage races are literally like 90s cars right now.
I can't believe the
vintage
vintage
racing.
I don't know
vintage
how-
racing is racing anything from the
Anything that's not current production,
anything that's
basically.
not new, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I don't know what happened. I guess at some point that particular date range, because that's like brass era,
And
right?
you're saying antique is 45 years old.
45
So
and older.
vintage is older than antique in this
But
definition.
vintage is older than antique, but within that date range. So, but technically anything older than 45 is antique.
It's like a square and a rectangle.
It's really weird. That's why I wanted to share.
And
with
then
you guys,
what are the
'cause I thought it was insane.
California? What are the plates that some
think
people have?
25,
Like
right?
Camisa has.
25
what do they say
years
on
older,
them,
I
though?
think. Yeah, let me double check.
What do
it.
they say though?
They say antique, right?
They say antique, and those are 25 years and older. So it's like I don't think there really is a real
Historical plates. Oh, they're historical plates.
Because I would say antique is brass era or Model T.
Same.
That's what
kind
I
of
was thinking.
vibes.
Like I was thinking like steam power and
Yeah.
shit.
If it has wood on it,
Yeah.
and
Wood
it's
frame.
not ironic.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, so in the state of California, this is fun knowledge here. Horseless carriage license plates, right? Two types of vehicles with an engine size of what the fuck? With an engine size of 16 or more cylinders manufactured prior to 1965, that qualifies for a horseless carriage plate.
16 or more cylinders.
Manufactured prior to 1965.
That's a short list.
This is from the DMV, by
That's
the
kind
way.
of like V16.
Dude, manufactured
And just that.
So there's
Yeah.
that category, which is crazy, and then manufactured in 1922 or earlier. This is per California DMV.
So that going gets to but I was saying that was antique.
That's
Yeah.
antique, right? That's horseless carriage, and then historical vehicle license plates are issued in motor vehicles or trailers manufactured after 1922, but that are 25 years and older.
You know what? We just went through all this. I could, if you asked me what is what, I would not. be able to
They're all
tell you.
weird ranges, dude.
either.
It's all fucking made up. So this one's because historical is from 1922 or 25 years and older, so it's still within that time frame.
Let's move on.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's too hard to keep track of. This isn't trivia yet, but this is a little bit of a tidbit of knowledge here.
So your vintage Rolex is actually
1910.
and it's not a vintage Rolex. It's actually it should be called an
classic.
antique Rolex or a
yeah.
classic Rolex.
Yeah,
Classic.
classic.
If it's 70
Yeah.
or
Are you wearing
70s
it?
would be antique.
I'm wearing my Dakar
He's wearing
yellow
a
G-Shock.
vintage.
Oh, I like that.
It's not Dakar yellow.
You know
It's
what
current
yellow-
production.
I tried.
You know what? That's that shitty 996 Porsche yellow.
Oh, the
or
fly
whatever.
yellow
It's
or
like
whatever.
No, fly,
Speed yellow.
Speed yellow.
It's actually like Dakar 3. It's way
Okay.
brighter than my Dakar, but
Yeah, it has a lot more
you can't
orange
tell,
than Dakar.
I wish this was this should be the M3 color. Three
Oh
colors.
yeah, the three colors.
Yeah, we'll get there. The Felicity Ace sank 1 year ago with 3,965 cars on it.
Is that when she cut her hair or before or after?
Felicity Huffman.
Felicity.
This is the ship that took down Matt Farah's Boxster. 189 Bentleys, 1,100 Porsches, all sorts of stuff. But one thing I didn't realize that it wasn't just new cars, and I didn't.
Yeah,
read
it
this in the
had a
story,
couple. Yeah.
But so it had the this one's so heartbreaking.
The Prelude?
No, that one doesn't bother me as much. They make such a big deal. Sadly, the 65th Honda Prelude SIR ever built was sunk.
60.
Well, it's the story though. It's because the guy bought it in Japan like before he could import it, like
and he
years
also
ago.
didn't insure it for the trip.
Didn't insure it for
What?
the trip.
Well, I shouldn't say what, but I understand. But come on.
I guess, yeah.
Or maybe not in Japan, but he bought it in Europe, I guess, right? But it was like a military dude, right? Bought it years ago.
Saved
His
it.
dream car, I remember the article said.
Dream car.
What year Prelude was?
I would like
97 or something.
I'd also love to see the statistics of the actual value versus the declared value of all of those cars.
Yeah. But this is the hardest one for me. It was a 718 Boxster GTS that was a European delivery. So the guy picked it up, drove around Europe,
The green one, I think.
parked it on the boat, and it's gone forever. It's like,
Well, the
what
good news is
a
the insurance
bummer.
company will let him do it again. Next year,
Maybe.
he'll do another European adventure. I'm actually stoked for him.
I hope you're right.
At least those can be reproduced, right?
Yeah.
Versus like some older car that, like a 97
Not
Prelude.
the Prelude.
97
Not
Prelude.
the Prelude.
Can't make one of those again.
No,
dream
I'm more
car.
bummed about the Prelude than I am about the modern production,
My
whatever.
dream
Yeah, for
car.
sure.
I just can't imagine any car better than a 97 Prelude.
I bought it.
Is it
20 years
the
ago.
4-wheel steering
I
or is
just
that
spent-
after 4-wheel steering?
After four. That's
might have been-
post.
it's like-
SIR.
It's the beep. Shit, I can't remember.
Lane,
the
can you
chassis
imagine?
code.
It's an SIR. It's gone forever. 65th built.
Oh man,
Brutal.
Naveed's
I mean,
said.
it's a handsome car, but it's not the one I thought it was.
Come
Yeah,
on.
it's not the earlier one.
I think it was Naveed that said he doesn't understand Preludes.
Oh, that was a great question, right? We like tore it apart.
Yeah, heavy. All right, this is the trivia question. We almost got through a trivia.
What
without the
color
song.
was the Prelude?
What color was
Silver,
the Prelude?
dude. Really fancy.
Other than work vehicles like fleet vehicles, trucks, and such, hand crank windows are a thing of the past.
Officially.
Except one vehicle, Soldiers On. You have to roll down the glass with your elbow grease, Clark. That's right. What car is it?
Car, not truck.
Well, I'll give you even just name the brand. I'll give you that.
man.
Chevrolet. Mitsubishi.
Dodge.
But close.
Chrysler.
Close.
What the heck?
Plymouth.
What is Plymouth?
Does Plymouth still exist?
I don't know. I'm just trying to think of it.
No Fiat. Huh.
You guys are close.
Dancing around, huh? Oh, it's a Jeep.
Bingo.
Yes.
Bongo. Bango. The Jeep Wrangler 2023. The most basic trim. You can still get hand crank.
Hey, you know
windows.
what? I respect that.
And
do too.
the Ford like F-150 contractor grade one has electric windows now.
So the Silverado, I think you can still get a work truck, which is like rubber floors, black bumpers and all that with hand crank. But it's very, I think you have to really ask.
By the
for
way,
it.
I know you guys all remember this, but there's the really famous Dave Chappelle skit, "The Baby,"
Of course.
when he rolls down the window,
Hey, baby.
and then he's like, "It was an old car," right?
Yeah, that's the best, dude.
And at the time, it was an old car.
Yeah, and that was
there
20 years ago.
and
by
there
the
was
way.
still some,
Yeah.
Have you seen like videos?
It was an old because it was a limousine.
Oh, it was an old limousine.
He rolls down the window. It was an old limousine.
There's videos of 6-year-olds or whatever in cars where they don't know how to use that
Oh
option,
yeah,
right?
sure.
And now I've seen like millennials where, dude, I saw the most depressing video. It is real too, because I know a teacher that said this is actual fact. Middle school, maybe even high school, can't read analog clocks.
Oh, I've heard.
I saw the
this.
Instagram about this
Did you
last
see
week.
that?
Yeah.
With the kid asking like, hey, what time is it?
Yeah.
And they're like,
No.
And they're like, it's 10.
swear to God, dude.
Well, according to the Instagram, so
No,
it's got to
but
be real.
I've heard this from a teacher that they cannot, not every kid, but
But there is kids.
many
that care.
kids cannot.
Like that was not a thing.
they just haven't had it in their life ever.
They've
But they're
never,
always in classrooms, though, right?
Yeah, I feel like it.
But they just
Suspect.
use their
Cell
This
phone.
is very sus, Warren.
No cap.
Sus it
No,
out.
no cap.
I'm hella sus at you, bro.
This is
Suss it
this is
out.
bussin' or whatever.
dude.
You're
yeah.
sus, dude.
Hey, my guy, listen. real
My
quick.
dude, you're hella sus.
Where was I getting with that? Oh, the other one I saw was a kid was presented with a cassette in its case, and he couldn't figure out how to open it. He's like,
That's-
dude, I don't want to break it, but like, how do you do it? You know,
That's
and
pretty
like
sweet.
mom had to show him.
I mean, that's pretty good. That's like a Zoolander trying to get into the computer.
Yeah.
Files are in the computer, but then what is he going to do with it once he even opens it? It's just like, now what? I did show Andrew VHS, and it was really fun to watch him try to figure it out. He's like,
Oh, do you have a VHS player still?
no, but we had a VHS in storage that I
have a
need a
couple.
VCR for. I need to like.
I did
Do
see
they
one,
like
and it
put
was
those on digital?
You can transfer it over,
You can
dude.
transfer it.
Yeah.
Who does that though?
Some, like Bay Photo probably or
Is
something.
it-
like
I
that.
know, important?
Still,
Is it like important and meaningful?
It was a field trip I did in San Francisco in like 1988.
Oh,
that's
hell
cool.
yeah.
That's
Went
awesome.
to the Belcutha, the CA Thayer, those ships in the marina.
That's
And
rad.
we did an overnight, and it's like video from that.
That is
Nice.
super cool.
And then there was a video making like summer camp I did in like the same time period, and it was like a video we made, like a little movie.
Oh, that's rad.
I don't know. Could be horrible. I'm sure it's horrible.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's still out there.
It's pretty fun.
You guys should project it at the next Radwood.
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah.
Andrew
Might
would
be some
like seeing
gems
it.
in there.
have it in the as
But
background.
then I asked my buddy Chris Brown, who's like the guy. He's like film guy, and he doesn't have a VCR. He's like, yeah, I need to get one. I was like, dude, if you don't have one, like, there's.
Yeah,
But I mean,
they don't
what would
exist
you-
at like secondhand stores. Or
I looked.
anything?
So my mom wanted she wanted a VHS DVD player, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's probably like $5, on Amazon. They're $500.
No one makes them.
I guess
Yeah.
there's like a Magnavox
For
and
a
that's it.
VHS.
Like the combo player.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
gotta be.
yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta. That's an eBay purchase, right? You gotta find like.
Or you just.
I
Can
think-
you not buy a VHS player anymore on
No,
on
so-
Amazon for like $10?
But like,
That's what I thought.
think about how many parts are inside that thing.
So
What a
many
pain in the
things.
ass to
I know,
manufacture
and
that
the,
is.
The heads, remember
Yeah.
the heads? You had to clean them.
How does it go in? Does it have auto load?
Oh
Does it have
man,
a
I
door
bought
on
a
the
DVD
top?
player recently
I
to
did
play
too.
old home movies
I
that
got
we have
so
that
I ended
are
up just
transferred over to DVD.
I just got my mom a DVD player instead of she was using her laptop, and I'm like, no, I'll just get your DVD player. But my original thought was I'll just get the combo
Yeah.
because we still have some VHS floating around,
Yeah.
and
Well, you have a
$35
Civic, so you can go
DVD.
steal them in the TV. You can steal the whole combos with your Civic.
Oh right, from
Yeah,
Fast
yeah.
and Furious.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Delivery.
I don't get that reference.
You've never seen Fast and Furious. I forgot,
Come on,
dude.
dude.
Delivery, dude.
Come on.
DiGiorno.
New one's coming out. You see the Super Bowl ad?
Yeah.
Family.
That's insane. Yeah.
Family.
Family.
I like how you hold it.
We need to do a movie night at like Shoreline.
For sure. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what we did the last
Yeah,
time, right?
exactly.
Yeah. I
We
hope
went and
they're
saw
real
it. We went
superheroes
to
now.
San Francisco.
At the Metreon.
Oh,
and
yeah,
Metreon,
that's right.
We saw the last
So
one.
insane. Yeah, I really hope
was-
because they were hinting that they were at being superheroes. So I really hope that in 10 they're full on
That's
They
superheroes.
just have capes and stuff.
Or they just
That'd
have
be
like,
awesome.
They have like
Capes.
telekinesis and fucking.
With like zzz, with their out of their hands.
He's like Magneto makes like a cameo.
Well,
or
like
something.
back at their house,
Like the
or whatever.
nos comes out of their fingers.
In the garage, there's like the family stone that's like emanate. They have to like get their energinos.
Yeah, I like it.
Sly in the
so
family stone,
good,
maybe.
dude.
That's podcast.
Bye.
See you later.
Later.
Bye bye.
Later.